What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the BallGame podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Tom.
I'm Chris. Yo, I don't know why
When are we going to get this down?
I don't know why I always think you go.
There was that one time where Nick came and we had the two cameras and he told me to go second, and normally you go second.
Right.
And I've been messed up ever since.
It's fucked everything up ever since.
Essentially, it's your fault, Nick.
It's
all your fault.
No, it's my fault. I'm third. I don't know.
I'll go 60-40. You take the lion's share. I'll take 40% of the blame. I should know my role.
No, I think you get like 25-25, and he gets 50. He gets 50.
All right, I'm down with that.
All right. Week 3 of the NFL season is wrapped up. The Cowboys are not them boys. The Vikings may be them boys. There's a bunch of coaches on the hot seat as we now have a good idea of what these NFL teams look like, as to what the problems are, and what teams could potentially make deep playoff runs. Things are starting to crystallize. We're starting to see the real deal here, and coaches, it's about damn time. You either turn things around and show some results, or your ass is going to get canned. So what else did we expect from the NFL season to this point? 2 primetime games last night, one of which absolutely electrifying, and the other one, not so much. Yeah, the Jaguars suck. I think we could start there.
Yeah.
The Jaguars are absolute garbage, 47-10 final. The Bills put a goddamn beat down on Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, Josh is him. Josh is him.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah, Nick, make those noises. Don't worry. Soon enough, I will make them myself. Don't worry. But yeah, Josh is him. The Bills defense, although it lost some pieces this offseason, as I said prior to the year, some teams just figured things out on certain sides of the ball. And Sean McDermott just seems to always figure it out on that side of the ball. So Josh is elite. That defense is great. And they're playing some of the best football in the entire NFL. On the contrary, the Jaguars are falling apart. It's pretty much over. You could chalk up this season. I think it's safe to say that. Quick thought on it. Trevor Lawrence was not good at all. No. That interception.
Trevor Lawrence is not good.
Congrats to Damar Hamlin for his first career pick. What a goddamn journey it's been for that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
His first game on Monday Night Football that he's played in since everything that happened, since the tragic events. Thank God he's good. Thank God he's on a football field starting for the Buffalo Bills. It's insane. What a journey. And he picks off the prodigy, the supposed prodigy, and Trevor Lawrence, and makes the play. And I was very happy to see that. And I was very happy to see the Bills put a goddamn beat down on the Jags.
Yeah.
Other thoughts? What do you guys think? What happened last night to the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I mean, the Jaguars are bad. I don't know if it was more of the Bills being just really, really good or the Jags being really, really bad, but I'm going to say it was a healthy mix of both. I mean, the Bills put the beat down on them, and Trevor Lawrence, like you said, did not look good. No one on the Jags looked good. That pick was horrible. We just saw before we got on, Dan Orlovsky was like breaking down that play. His feet weren't set, and he just sails it over Brian Thomas's head right into Damar Hamlin's chest.
Wide open.
Yeah, wide open Brian Thomas, by the way. Yeah, Josh Allen is probably pretty clearly the MVP favorite right now. I mean, if there is a most valuable, if anyone embodies the most valuable player, it's got to be Josh Allen right now. I mean, that first half might be the best half he's ever played.
It was.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was the half in the AFC Championship game where he was just lights out, and that game was insane. But, yeah, that might be – yeah.
Yeah, that was nuts.
That might be the first half. It might be the best half he's ever played of football for sure. So, yeah, the Bills definitely surprised a lot of people. Not Matt, but surprised a lot of people in the fashion that they're 3-0. So, credit to them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. On the Jag side of things, I just don't understand how you could come out in a game of this magnitude with your season on the line. I mean, we talked about it last week. It was do or die for them. We talked about it on the Pick'em on our Patreon. I took the Jags. I thought they were going to come out with some life, and they came out dead. And, I mean, that all starts from the top. That starts with management. That starts with Doug Peterson. That starts with the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, What have they lost? 8 straight games now? 7 straight games now? They haven't won since Thanksgiving. I mean, it's just they're playing super uninspiring football. I don't know. I mean, you see it. This game is, I don't even know how to word this. Like football is a very deep sport, and it's a very intimate sport, and like you got to bring energy and passion. Like that shit's so important in football. Like it's just as important as being skilled, and you know they're just not. Like I said, they're playing such uninspiring football right now, top to bottom on both sides of the ball, every position group, from the coaching to the management. It's a bad football team. It's a bad group of football players that aren't playing good football. Just aren't playing good football.
I think that's a good way to word it, because like we look at the Jags every year and it's like, wow, they have a lot of talent. You know, they got guys on defense. They got Trevor Lawrence, and then you figure out, well, why can't they put it together? And it's just, you know, they're bad. They're just bad. Suck. They're clearly not as talented as everyone has propped them up to be. But I mean, a guy like Trayvon Walker, like, he's not bad, but he's not nearly living up to the potential he had. Trevor Lawrence, not bad, but not nearly living up to the potential he had. And there's just so many things, like you said, that go into that.
Yeah,
more than just skill.
It's good you mentioned those two guys, because I agree. Tavon Walker too. He's been pretty good for them. Like he's had a good career.
He's okay.
He's not
a number one
he's
pick,
definitely not bad.
That's the problem.
He's not bad.
Right, exactly. Right. You have 2 number 1 picks, one on each side of the ball, and listen, we give guys the benefit of the doubt for their situation time and time again. And, you know, some people in this media space aren't as lenient as I say we are and other people are. We tend to give people the benefit of the doubt. But at the end of the day, like these great prospects who come into this league, it's supposed to be despite that. They're supposed to put the team on their back. They're supposed to be difference makers. And Trevor Lawrence, just thus far in his career, just hasn't been that. Tavon Walker, thus far in his career, hasn't been that. And, you know, when those two picks, you know, you took them as number 1 overall draft picks, but then they're probably the most important positions, too, on each side of the ball. Like, those guys have to be difference makers. And, like, I know for a lot of guys in the NFL, like, being average is cool. Like, get your bag, live your career, go home, you know, have your kids, family, whatever after. But like for this level of prospect for this team, given their goals and aspirations, given where they were 2 years ago and where they should be now, they're just underperforming, and being average isn't okay. Like Trevor Lawrence hasn't been terrible. Last night was bad for sure. Yeah. But like overall, like he hasn't been a terrible quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, but he just hasn't been enough of a difference maker. He just hasn't.
He turns the ball over too much, too. And, I mean, you just can't win games like that. And it's like Trayvon's been cool. But, again, you said it, like he was drafted as a number 1 overall pick. Like, you expect
over Aiden Hutchinson, who is
exactly. You're going to draft an edge rusher, number 1 overall. You're expecting Myles Garrett. Like, that is what you're taking. You're expecting a similar trajectory to a Myles Garrett who went 1st overall. So it's just, I think this team is cooked. Their contract for Trevor Lawrence just is not, and I'm not necessarily saying that Trevor's career is done. This is what he is. No, we saw the 2nd year of Trevor Lawrence, and maybe we're holding out hope just a little bit too much. And me especially, he was awesome. He was amazing. He won a playoff game. Yes, had 4 picks in the first half or whatever it was, but came back and won a playoff game that Brandon Staley was trying to lose.
Right.
But it's just there is the generational talent, and maybe not a top 5 quarterback anymore, but that guy is somewhere in there. Like, he has all the talent and physical tools in the world. He's athletic, has a ridiculously strong arm, and you know that's somewhere in there.
Maybe Urban Meyer kicked it out of him.
He might have.
It's like, just the roster construction and the management of players. I mean, you look at a team like the 49ers with Brock Purdy on a dirt cheap rookie contract. Like, that's when you're obviously supposed to capitalize on your quarterback being on a cheap contract. And the Jaguars were unable to do that, and most teams are unable to do that. The Bills weren't able to do it with Josh Allen.
It's hard.
Yeah, most teams are unable to do that. But you look at a team like the 49ers, you look at a team like the Bills in particular, who already paid their quarterback. By the time it's that you have to pay your quarterback, you know which guys are like a part of the core and like are staying, and you know which guys have to go, and you have to replenish and get new guys at those positions. The Jaguars and a team like the 49ers, they've loaded up on talent while they've had Brock Purdy on this contract. I promise by the time Brock Purdy's ready to get paid, they're going to know which guys are staying and which guys are going, and it's probably going to be the right decisions.
Yes.
It's probably going to be the right decisions. And with this Jaguars team, it's just wrong decision after wrong decision. There's no direct. I mean, it's been like this our whole lifetime.
Yeah.
There's no direction. There's no consistency when there looks like there can potentially be a direction. It's just the mismanagement. Like it's horrible. They're the worst run organization in the league.
Yeah, and I mean,
like
they have
for
been
a lifetime. Yeah, I mean,
for a very long time. And I mean, I guess that's just something that you can't get over. Like, it's just we say it, and it feels like we've said it on every single podcast now. It's like, if the ownership sucks, it's just going to trickle down.
It trickles down.
It'll just continue to trickle down. And that's seemingly what's happening with the Jaguars.
Now they're at the point where it's trickled down to the, like, it's done.
On the field.
It's done. It's like, it's not even just a few players on the field. Like, the whole team isn't bought in. Like, it's done for the whole team.
Yes.
Like, they got embarrassed last night. With their season on the line on national television, they got embarrassed. Like,
I don't know how you bounce back from that.
You make a coaching change. That's really the only chance they have.
Build a new culture.
And I'm surprised Doug Peterson still holds a job right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe by the time this releases, that changes. But I'd be shocked if he's the coach going into Week 4. I'd be shocked.
Didn't the same kind of thing happen with the Eagles when he was fired towards the end? Like, it was just the players couldn't get behind him anymore, and he lost the locker room. And I don't know that we've heard that much out of the Jags.
Won a goddamn Super Bowl.
Right.
Like, he's a Super Bowl head coach.
Right.
No matter how.
But then a lot of guys, like, if you listen to, like, I think LaShawn McCoy hates him.
Yeah,
like, there are a lot of players that don't like him. I'm not saying he's the whole problem, but, you know, it's interesting how here we are again, you know.
I just feel like some of these teams need, and I mean, the Jags also, their defense sucks. Like, and a lot of guys were injured. Half their
their team sucks.
Their team sucks.
Sucks. Like, it's not a good football team.
But there are so many players that were supposed to have promise. That's the problem.
Yes. And I completely agree. And I don't know if the solution is as simple as we fired Doug Peterson and now we get a new head coach.
Well,
this team, and I'm going to be honest, more so than just about almost every single one in the NFL at this point, aside from maybe the Panthers, needs a whole goddamn culture shock.
Yeah.
You got to wake the fuck up.
Well, yeah, for sure. But you hope ideally you make a change at the top and that injects some life into some of the guys, and then you could, again, see which guys you're going to keep and which guys are going to go. Not everyone could go. Like, some of these guys are part of the future for them.
Have to be.
That's what I was going to say. Is like, you hope you bring in a new coach and he comes in and he says, I don't have any ties to any of these guys. If we picked this guy first round last year, I don't give a shit. Get rid of him. I don't want him. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it all starts at the top. At this point, I mean, look what Andy Dalton did for the Panthers this week. Like, it's all... For them right now, it's all about injecting whatever type of life you can into these guys. So ideally, that starts at the top.
The Canales era, whatever you want to call it, and like they're starting off right. I mean, they moved on from Bryce Young quickly. They didn't just keep him out there. They're doing what they can, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
They brought in pieces in the offseason to try and help him succeed. He wasn't succeeding, so their GM
said,
hey, we can't
definitely can too. There's no way he survives.
Who, the Jags?
It's going to be a total reset.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming GM's canned.
They're cleaning house.
I'm assuming Doug Peterson's canned. And I mean, perfect timing for this. We might as well jump straight into it. Doug Peterson's probably going to get canned. And I'm not so sure Doug Peterson is going to be the only head coach that gets canned in the near future. So, Tom, I believe you have something set up for us.
I do have something set up for us. There's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of coaches out there with their jobs on the line. So I'm going to give you guys a list of names, and you're going to tell me on a scale of, I guess, 1 to 10. Okay.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how hot is this coach's hot seat?
Actually, I feel like we should do like on a scale of ice cold.
You know what I had?
I
pulled up Buffalo Wild Wings sauces. Like Blazing Knockout is the top.
Nice.
Sweet Barbecue is the bottom.
Yeah, it couldn't be.
And then you got like Nashville Hot is in the middle.
Like, we're doing hot ones right now.
Yeah.
We're doing hot ones, but with NFL head coaches.
How are you gonna say it?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Like, there's no way
to.
I can, but like, there's no way to scale it for like a video. You know what I mean?
That's true. I guess.
I think we just do a number
Say
scale.
1 through 10.
Hot, or like something like that. Don't.
Mucho calor. Just Spanish.
I don't know, on a scale, I feel like a number scale makes sense. On a scale of 1 to whatever,
So simple.
how hot are these coaches' seats? I don't know.
All right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how hot are the following coaches' seats? So we just talked about him. We'll start off with Doug Peterson. He hasn't won a game since Thanksgiving. Won one playoff game. He's 18-19 with the Jags.
Do you want to start us off?
Yeah, we set a scale of 10 to 10. 10.
150.
This is. I mean, if I could give a number higher than 10, I'd give that number. It's
up to you.
It's done. It's cooked. Doug Peterson shouldn't have a job. Hopefully, by the time we release this TikTok, he doesn't have a job. Respectfully.
unless he finds a new job relatively quickly.
He's rich that
he goes to
like,
Home Depot or something. I'm sure Home Depot's hiring. You know?
He has so much money.
Yeah,
it's fine.
he's cool.
Yeah, for the sake of his livelihood, I would hope he has a job. But in terms of football, I hope he gets canned.
He's well taken care of. I think he's well off.
1 to 10.
That thing's bursted into flames and like it's ash now. Like it is over. It's a 10. It's a 11. It's a 50. It's over.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson era in Jacksonville is done. And it's what Josh Hart got a jersey tonight actually. His uncle apparently used to play for the Yankees. And it's scorching. It's over. Doug Peterson is done. And as he should be. Like, look, you got to call it what it is. Like, I understand. Like, look, I want everyone to have a job. I want every single person to have a job. If everyone in the world could be an NFL head coach, I would approve of that. That'd be great. But that's not the case. Doug Peterson is not one of the 32 anymore that should have an NFL head coaching gig. And it's that simple. Jacksonville may be better off without him. So,
all right. The next name I have up here is the Dallas Cowboys' Mike McCarthy. He's 43-27 in the regular season with the Cowboys. 1-3. Next coach I have here is Mike McCarthy. He's 43-27 as a coach of the Cowboys in the regular season. He's 1-3 in the playoffs, and he was just brought back after a brutal loss to the Packers in the playoffs.
I mean, I'll get this one started. One of my hot takes was that Mike McCarthy would basically be fired because the Dallas Cowboys have a massive in-season collapse. Look, I'm just saying, if they do lose this Thursday to our boys, it's over.
Yeah,
McCarthy's getting canned.
You can't come back from.
He won't survive the week because it's 2 L's in 4 days. And losing to the Giants at this point after you've never lost to them since Dak's first game, basically. In games that Dak Prescott has played, you haven't lost since his first game ever as a pro. Bro, he's going to get fired. And look, I think if they win this week, obviously, things push on and
he
move
lives
forward.
another week.
He lives another week. I think if I'm giving a number on it, I think it's like a 7.3 with the potential in about 72 hours to be a scorching 85.
7.3.
So
it's got to be like ideal,
Yeah. I'm not giving rookie scores here. So it's tough because Mike McCarthy kind of deserves the benefit of the doubt with what he's done in the regular season with the Cowboys. But because it's not like he's the only coach in recent memory with the Cowboys that can't win in the playoffs. Like, he's not. He's simply not the only coach that this situation has happened to. So I think he deserves a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But I only think there's one coach that could go in there and handle the job of being the Dallas Cowboys head coach at this point and turning this organization around. And he's on the Pat McAfee show every Monday.
I was going to say, I don't know how true those rumblings were that he wanted to coach there, but he looks happy as shit on TV.
He looks so happy.
So I don't think he's leaving.
I think he's done.
Yeah,
I think he's done. Vrabel's the other one that makes sense as a culture setter, but McCarthy, as of right now, 7.3. After Thursday, we could be having a totally different conversation. And I hope we're having a totally different conversation.
Yeah.
Like a 5. They didn't extend him this offseason. I think they it was his one last ride. It was get everyone paid, give him one more shot at it. I mean, we talk about it with the Cowboys. The shit don't matter to the playoffs. obviously right now as things stand, they wouldn't be a playoff team, but we're 3 weeks into the season. There's a long time to go. I think they didn't make a move at head coach this offseason with like full intention of him being the coach for the rest of the season. So I still think they're a playoff team right now. I think they should be able to win enough games and find their way in. And when they inevitably lose in the playoffs, he'll get fired at the end of the season. But I think
You think he survives for sure?
I think he's going to survive.
Even if they lose to
I mean,
the
if they
Giants on
lose to the
Thursday.
Giants, yeah, but like I'm not a Giant fan. I'm not going to come up here and act like that's some type of real possibility. I don't think it's that
Whoa.
real. I think the Cowboys should bounce
Disrespect is
back.
crazy.
I mean, I still think the Giants suck. So that's a
I don't know, man. I don't know. We've lost to 2 teams so far this year. One of them's 3-0 and the other one's 2-1. And we would have beat the 2-1 one if we had a kicker. So, just saying. Giants are the real deal.
No.
No, we're not.
Anyway, I'm looking here.
even if you guys lose, even if they lose to the Giants. So like I don't think their playoff chances are cooked after that. Honestly,
Oh, no. They'll lose. He will lose the locker room, I think. I genuinely
That's
think he will lose.
possible.
Like, it's-
potentially that's it.
I just think, like, there's
we're
not
already getting-
another-
Like, I just think it's.
Like, what do you do if you fire McCarthy?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
I just don't think you have another option. You know?
I think it's like, it's unfortunately the truth though. Like you're already seeing CD get into it on the sideline, and that's just being a competitive like person in a losing effort.
Diva
like, I
wide
totally
receiver,
get
but
that.
okay.
I totally get that, but like
well, yeah,
there
they're just
were already issues
well,
heading
no,
into
yeah,
the
they're
season.
just dumb for allowing there to be issues. Though you were basically, I mean, Dak got signed right, but literally as week 1 was starting.
Yeah, the
so
problems definitely don't start or end with McCarthy.
You were going into the season with your coach on the last year of his deal, and then these 3 players who none of them got paid, and they all wanted to get paid. So like you were going into the season with problems.
No, I agree.
If my,
but
I
now
don't
they're
know.
magnified since you're
Yeah, I
losing.
just think though, if Mike McCarthy was gonna get canned for this year, like they would have done it and had an off season to prepare for that.
But I also don't think Jerry even goes into the season thinking there's a shot they're 1-3. Like not even in the slightest bit. And
also
that's
possible.
that's where the difference lies for me because it's like Jerry
I don't know
has
how
no
you don't-
regular season success. What do you mean?
I don't know how you could.
We're talking about
Say-
Jerry Jones here.
No, I know, but hold on. He didn't. I don't think he went into the season like there's no chance we're gonna be 1-2 right now.
I don't know about
I mean, he probably
agree.
no. He was
did.
probably pretty confident, but like, it's the NFL.
Jerry
like
Jones
you,
thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, no, like yeah, like I'm sure.
know,
They
like,
said they couldn't afford Derrick
Yeah,
Henry.
but I mean, Jerry Jones has been alive. I understand the Cowboys have problems, but like Jerry Jones has been alive for how long now? I'm sure he
Ever.
Too
I'm,
long.
I'm sure he knew it was a
Fucking guy took a
possibility they
dinosaur
could
to school.
start 1-2, but I'm sure he also knows it's a possibility that the season's far from cooked for them. And for this team, if they were 1-2 or if they were 3-0 right now, we'd still be saying nothing matters until this team gets to the playoffs.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
1-2,
agree. But the
it's
vibes
possible.
are a different story when you're 3-0 and 1-2.
I do agree that like Jerry
yeah.
is also the type to say like it's never over. Like he'll
if
be
you're
0-4 and
well,
think
of
they can
course.
still.
Because that's also you're not gonna go to any press conference as a member
Well,
of
Jerry
the team
Jones
in
will
any
say
situation. Okay, if they lose to the fucking Giants, you know what he's gonna get up and say? He's going to go ahead and say this is a disgrace to the Cowboys. He's like, there
Yeah.
is no reason for us to be one.
Yeah, the
and
same
you're
thing
gonna
he
tell
said-
me that's a good thing?
Right,
No,
but
of
it's
course
I'm
not,
sure
no.
he's going to say the same things he said after they lost in the playoffs last year. And guess what? Mike McCarthy's still the head coach. You know what I'm saying?
It's less embarrassing to lose in the playoffs than to lose to the Giants and be one.
Oh my God, no. Like yes,
What do you mean?
Wait,
yes,
no, getting
yes,
blown out by
yes.
a team you were favored to beat is
Bro, it doesn't.
is
It's a
better than
playoff
losing to
game,
the
though.
Giants.
You're going.
Yeah, but
you
like-
are the Dallas Cowboys,
Okay,
and
no,
every year you
no.
look at it and say,
But-
"Listen to me. Hold up. Let me
Wait,
finish."
what
this
is the
statement.
argument here?
Let me just
missed the
that,
initial point.
that
but
it
okay.
is more embarrassing for the Cowboys right now if they lose Thursday night than that playoff
right,
game
wait.
they lost.
I don't agree.
So
at all.
all right, so 2 things. One, I don't agree regardless, but 2, let's talk about the Cowboys being 1-2, not 1-3.
I'm saying if.
I know, but why are we even like? Let's talk about the Cowboys now.
Well, already they're falling apart.
Right. So, are you saying that being 1-2 right now is more embarrassing than losing the way they
That's
lost?
not what I said.
So 1-3 though,
Yes.
it's more embarrassing than getting.
But it's the way, it's the fashion of which you lose. You
Yeah.
haven't lost to the Giants in the Dak Prescott era when
Yo,
he's
but
been
you
playing,
gotta understand though. Like in technicality,
I'm a Giant fan, and I'm saying it's fucking embarrassing if they lose to us Thursday night.
listen. In technicality, yes, losing to the Giants is more It's worse than losing to another playoff team. Yes. But what's more embarrassing in 2024 in this world of media? It's losing in the you're going to be more embarrassed losing in the playoffs because everyone's watching, like everyone's talking about.
They got killed in the playoffs.
Yeah,
against a team they were supposed to beat.
There,
like,
yeah. If Mike
no
McCarthy was going to get canned, trust me, like they had enough to fucking can him.
I was shocked he still had a job.
We all were.
1 and 2 sucks, but shit, like they had enough to can him
That's
already.
what I was gonna like. That's the point I was gonna make. Is their season was over when they didn't fire McCarthy in the offseason.
Yeah, like I don't have expectations.
I don't necessarily think it's only McCarthy though.
No, it's definitely not.
There is so, and
I mean, they haven't been to the Super Bowl, and we're gonna talk. That's why we don't have to.
We don't have to fully.
dive into I mean, now we probably don't need to.
Kind of have.
Yeah, now we already did. So.
There's a lot more that I have to say about those.
All right, so we'll move on. So you're at a 5, you're at a 7.3.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll revisit.
I mean, we're like in the middle. I don't know.
I
don't know.
Let's keep going about the Cowboys then. I am just saying 1 and 3, not 1 and 2. 1 and 2 right now is whatever. You win Thursday, everything's fine. It doesn't matter because you know what? You beat the Giants. You're 2 and 2 now. You're 500, and at that point, you're a half game back from the Eagles in the division, right? Okay, you lose to the Giants on Thursday night. I understand how loud it got in the playoffs last year. Like after the playoffs, your season's now over. It doesn't matter. You now have to deal with, if you lose to the Giants on Thursday night, the rest of your season after that moment where your locker room is likely to just be a powder keg and blow up at this point because you're already getting CD acting up. You got Micah who has his own fucking podcast who talks about anything and everything. You have Mike McCarthy who should have been canned in the first place, and I think everybody knows this, and now it's in the middle of the season, and you've lost twice in embarrassing fashion, getting the brakes beat off you and then trying to come back in the fourth quarter. And then you lose to the Giants for the first time since Dak's first game.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's a massive embarrassment.
Right. I think we talk about that when it happens, though.
Yeah, I know.
The odds are they're not going to lose to the Giants. So
that is what the sports books are saying.
That's what the odds are. Yeah. I mean, it's.
We were going to get the brakes beat off us by Cleveland.
Okay, bro.
So. Just
in
Cleveland.
Okay, but like
the dog pound.
Right. So you can talk about that because they beat the Browns. You can talk about it in hindsight. We'll talk about the Cowboys losing to the Giants when they lose to the Giants. You know what I mean? Like,
I like that word.
Sure. I mean, I hope they do. I want nothing more than to see the Giants ruin the Cowboys. But
yeah, I mean, if
that would be the greatest.
Yeah, it would.
If they're 1 and 3, like there will definitely be noise about Mike McCarthy getting fired, and they'll be all up in the media, and it'll be embarrassing. But we just saw the same thing all offseason. Like, they just got embarrassed, and Mike McCarthy being fired was in the news all offseason. So, I don't know if they...
I agree. I think if he didn't get fired after that playoff loss, I don't think he gets fired in the middle of the season.
I think it was very, clearly from what their actions were this offseason, kind of one last ride of what they currently have going. Obviously, they brought back Dak and CD, but... there's when they inevitably lose, if they even make the playoffs, but they're not going to win anything. Like when they inevitably lose and are eliminated, there's going to be massive changes.
Right.
Like Mike McCarthy is not going to be the coach next year, and there's going to be massive changes from everyone who's not named Dak and Sedarius Lamb.
And Mike.
Everyone who's not named Dak and CeeDee Lamb as of right now. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know about Micah.
Oh boy.
I think they're gonna probably restart, not restart, but really retool this thing from the ground. You have to.
I think Mike is gonna want out too. I think he wants to play with Stroud or go to Philly.
Houston.
That's what I'm saying.
Philly.
Yeah, I think they're it was, to me, it was very clearly like a one last ride type of thing. That's why I just don't.
I would agree. Yeah.
What is
I don't
Texas
think
has no state income tax.
Mike McCarthy's going to get fired.
Ain't going.
That's why I think it's a 5. Again, if they lose games they're not supposed, it's the Cowboys. If they lose, even if they were fucking 3-0 and they lost to the Giants and were 3-1, I'm not saying it would be as amplified, but if they were 3-0 and lost to the Giants, people would still talk about Mike McCarthy getting fired the next day.
Yeah,
like, honestly,
that just goes to
just
show
because it's
the
embarrassing. Yes, like, but again, this is all hypothetical. Losing to the
Right.
Giants,
I know.
at the end of the day,
that's
just
what I'm
losing to
saying.
the Giants, regardless, is embarrassing for any team.
Okay.
That's true.
All right. You need to relax. Okay.
It's
You
true.
need to relax.
It's true.
Danny,
No one should lose to the Giants.
Danny Dimes is
Shut up. We're not doing
he is arrived.
We're not
Okay.
doing
He
this
is arrived. You guys need to relax.
Then I hope he gets fucking deported.
Yeah, but it's a 5 for Mike McCarthy.
Fuck. All right. What other coaches?
Okay. Oh, Jesus.
His real name's not CD.
No, it's Sedarius. Yeah.
I think it's Darius.
It's Sedarius. Yeah.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Why he's called CD? Sedarius. CD.
All right. So the next coach on this list is that's wrong. The coach of the Chicago Bears, Matt Eberflus. He's 11-26 with the Bears.
Like a 4.
Yeah.
Like about a 4.
I'm
I don't
giving
know.
it. I'm giving it like a 3.2.
Do you think he should lose?
I
it,
don't
or you just
think
don't think
he
he's
should
going
get
to?
canned because the thing that you brought Eberflus in for is one of the best in the entire league.
Yeah.
The defense has not been the problem.
Right.
You need to try to go out there, and this is your issue as a head coach. You need to go out there and find the right offensive coordinator. If you were to get canned for not being able to do that, then you know what? Fine, I totally get that. His problem is not his side of the ball. He needs to find a capable offensive coordinator that's not Shane Waldron. It is Shane Waldron,
It is
right?
Shane Waldron, yes.
Like, what is their offense, dude? It's not only that their O-line is kind of incompetent at the current moment, and I don't think any of this really should fall too heavily on Eberflus's shoulders. Their defense is one of the best in the league. Like, it's just that simple for me.
Yeah, I think their expectations kind of temper a little bit with the Bears. They kind of just aren't the team we thought they were. And that's okay. They're still a young group. They still have a lot of pieces that are going to develop over time. But
What did we think they were?
I mean,
it depends
a
on who you
lot
ask.
of people thought they were going to compete for a playoff spot, and they're probably not going to do that.
People had them in the Super Bowl.
I mean, just one person, Nick Wright. Like, we could call him by his name. It was just Nick Wright.
Big dummy.
Yeah,
Big
it was
fucking dumbass.
it was just Nick
Good old
Wright.
Nick Wright.
But yeah, no, like you mentioned, the defense has been incredible. I think I do still believe this offense is going to come along. They're not going to be an elite offense by the end of the season. I'm not saying that, but I think they're going to. I mean, each week so far they've gotten a little better, and I think that trend is going to continue. I think just weekly they're going to get a little bit better. I don't think Shane Waldron's the coordinator of the future for this team, but I think Eberflus's job is pretty safe.
Wow. Bro just hit the fucking foul pole.
Yep.
Tight.
All right, the next coach is the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni. Now, the Eagles started 10-1 last year, as we all know. They ended the season 1-5. They're 12-8 since they went to the Super Bowl, and they lost to the Bucs in the first round of the playoffs last year. And some Eagles fans, although they won against the Saints, were not happy with Nick Sirianni and calling for his job. So where are you guys at?
I honestly think it's a 0. As things stand right now, I just think there's like a 0% chance he gets canned like during the season. Unless they like just go on some insane
Just meltdown.
3-game losing streak, but I just I don't see that happening. That's why I don't think. I think he's fine. I think they're gonna win a lot of games. He's gonna have his moments. He's another guy who I don't love him as a head coach. I don't know how safe his job is in the future, but as things stand right now, I can't see him getting canned like during the season. I think his seat's pretty cold.
Yeah, I mean, I think his seat is ice cold. I thought
A lot of Eagles fans do not agree with you
But
guys,
here's
though.
the thing,
a lot
like-
of them want him canned.
But and I'm not saying that like they shouldn't want him canned. I'm just saying in terms of where I see it, like as an unbiased fan at the current moment, I don't see them firing him anytime soon, unless, as you said, a serious collapse occurs, and then we're talking about like potentially calling for Sirianni's job. But like as of right now, I mean, they're 2-1. They got the win over the Saints. They should be thankful they did. Sirianni needs to take the points at certain points.
Yeah.
But, I mean, no, I don't think he's close to getting fired at this point. I think it'd take a collapse. I'm going to say like a 1 right now.
Okay.
Because
Eagles
there's a
fans, you hear
slight
that?
possibility.
Eagles fans, you hear that? Just calm down a little bit, all right?
No, he sucks. He's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. The next name I have here, just because they're 0-3, is Brian Callahan. Titans are 0-3, brand new head coach.
0.
0.
I don't think he's going to get fired. It's not really his fault.
No, I just wanted to bring it up because they were 0-3. I felt like I had to mention it. But yeah, I don't think so either. He's a brand new head coach.
The first person that's going to get fired is the quarterback.
Yeah.
Will Levis is going to get his ass canned from his starting job.
How have they not benched him yet?
Mason Rudolph was good for the Steelers last year, in case people forget. Mason Rudolph is the backup for the Tennessee Titans, and I think Mason Rudolph will do a better job than Will Levis. Will Levis is going to get fucking canned soon.
I mean, they have.
I like
they have
Callahan.
Miami. Yeah, they play Miami this week. Like that's a winnable game if you know, like if, I don't know if they lose. I mean, they do go into the bye after that, so I think they give Levis one more shot and then go from there. But
Bro, he's just incompetent, man.
the next coach, I don't think there's a real chance of him getting fired, but I do have. There's an interesting point to make. It's John Harbaugh of the Baltimore Ravens. He has the most blown double-digit leads in the fourth quarter of any coach since at least 1991.
Yo, these last two have been real embarrassing.
I mean, they got the W against the Cowboys, but we thought that game was over in the second quarter, and they won by 3.
Bro, so look, it's a 0. This one's absolutely a 0. You give the guy the benefit of the doubt because so consistently they've been one of the best teams in all of football. Have they always gotten it done in the playoffs? No. What does he have? Only one Super Bowl, right? As a head coach, unless he goes back to the 2000s, which I don't think he was coaching at that point. Yeah, I mean, I think Harbaugh gets the benefit of the doubt. He's going to be one of those guys that he's going to have a job there till he wants to call it quits.
Yeah.
So
0.
Yeah, it's a 0 for me. I don't think he's done too much for that culture and that organization.
Sure. This next coach is another coach that may surprise us, but a lot of the fans are calling for this guy's job. Kevin Stefanski of the Cleveland Browns, 2-time coach of the year, 37-30 record with the Browns.
You just made the case 0.
Right.
2-time coach of the year, 37-30.
If you go on, like, I'm not crazy. If you go on Twitter and all, there are a lot of Browns fans that hate Kevin Stefanski and think he's making Deshaun Watson look terrible.
No.
I swear to God, it's out there. Like, there are people out there who think
the
it's
O-line
Stefanski's fault.
fucking sucks, and Deshaun Watson fucking sucks. So.
Very beat up.
I mean, I just don't. Some people were like using the fact that Joe Flacco. They think Joe Flacco saved Stefanski's job. There are people on Twitter and shit that think Joe Flacco saved his job. It's crazy.
Bro, what in the world is that?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yes, Kevin Stefanski is not losing his job.
Can we
He's
just
a great coach.
put Jameson, please?
Yeah, that's all. That's all.
Keep doing this every week.
Yep. All right, and the last name I have here is the coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 0-3, Mr. Zach Taylor. He's 1-11 in the first 2 weeks of the season, 21-15 since making the Super Bowl, and I just thought this was interesting. I don't really think it's that big of a deal, but a record without Joe Burrow as a starter is 4-28-1.
10. And I don't think it's entirely his fault, but 10. I think he's going to get scapegoated, honestly.
Yeah.
I think if there's any change this team could make to, like we mentioned with the Jaguars, to kind of inject some type of new life into them, it's firing Zach Taylor. And I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if it will fix anything or result to more wins. Probably not, but I mean, when you look at it like mid-season, what else can you really do to kind of get some? You're 0-3. Like, you need. It's kind of like us in fantasy. Like, you know, I'm 0-3 in some weeks. Like, at this point, I don't even care if I lose the trade on paper. Like, it's just about any change I could get.
Yeah.
Any change I could get. And I think, like, this is also a problem, these slow starts. Like, yeah, they've been able to overcome in the past, but, like, eventually it was going to come to bite them, and this might be the year where starting 0-3, they're not going to be able to get back in the mix, and it might be too late. I mean, you look at the Steelers at 3-0, you look at that division, like, it might be cooked. So, yeah, I think, you know, if this continues, and I said this in week 1, I was wrong about the Bengals, I was wrong about their defense, and no one's coming through the door on that side of the ball to save them. So if there's going to be any change for this team, it's going to be firing Zach Taylor. So I think he's going to be gone at some point.
You know, I almost wonder, I would give it like an 8.4 at this point, but I almost wonder if Anarumo is going to be the first gone. and not Zach Taylor, because that defense has really been so atrocious.
Bro, what do you even want bro to do?
That's what I was gonna.
They don't fucking bring back any of his good
that's
players.
exactly what I was getting at.
They don't
I'm
have the
saying, like,
personnel.
if anyone's going to get scapegoated, I do think it.
Yeah, I guess.
I think he will be the first to get scapegoated. And the problem with this is, like, you've lost now. Sorry, BJ Hill, or no, BJ Hill is still there. DJ Reader, who is with the Bengals, was one of the best defensive tackles in the entire NFL. You lost your entire secondary, and Jesse Bates goes on to become one of the best safeties in the entire league. I think it's ridiculous.
They haven't paid Trey Hendrickson.
No, and they likely won't. He's walking. He's done. He will not sign back with that organization now, and it's ridiculous to me.
T. Higgins is gone. They haven't paid Jamar. They let Joe Mixon go.
We sounded off on the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't have much to say that I haven't already said.
Shit organization. It's another example of that. Shit organizations trickle down eventually.
Yeah, and I don't honestly, like, given their recent success, honestly, in the past, I don't think ownership in the front office is going to take the blame. That's why I do things.
No, you said it perfectly. Like 10 out of 10, but he doesn't, like, he should get hired immediately.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same with Lou Anarumo. I mean, someone should pick him up.
Yeah, they should, even if it's not as a head coach for Zach Taylor, but like he should be on a staff.
Lou Anarumo should have 30 interviews if he gets fired. So
yeah, there are a bunch of teams that could use a new defensive coordinator.
Yeah, for sure.
He absolutely deserve it. So yeah, I just think it's an obviously flawed
Staten
roster.
Island legend.
Even if he's like, he's been in this for a while, even if it's to help someone out on someone's staff, like he's going to get offers. So yeah, he's going to be immediately.
Both of these guys will get picked up.
Yeah.
Both of these guys will get picked up if they get canned. So
I just think the front office is going to look to like some of their success and say, well, it's not us. We're not the problem.
Yeah,
like,
more Burrow, man.
They're going to say we went 9-8 without Burrow last year. Like,
I mean, that was atrocious last
Part of
night.
it was with
You got
Burrow.
Cam Taylor-Britt out there talking shit about my boy Cliff Kingsbury,
bro.
man.
And then Cliff puts on a goddamn masterclass.
Cliff put on
last
a
night.
clinic.
Cliff called the best game of his entire life. That was all the coaches, correct?
Yeah, that was
Okay. So now we could jump into that and smooth transition with that. But Cliff put on a clinic, called probably the best game I've ever seen him call. And I've been a big critic of the Cliff Kingsbury offense because it is honestly what Cam Taylor-Britt said had standing through the first 2 weeks. Yes, they drove down the field on a lot of drives. They've been incredibly efficient, but it was screens, it was dump-offs, it was a lot of underneath stuff. It looked like a college offense, and they didn't want to expand the playbook for Jaden Daniels. And then this week happens. And Jaden looks like college Jaden with an NFL playbook and an open NFL playbook. So I got to give credit to Cliff. I got to give credit to what seems like he may be, I hate to throw this term around, but one of the best quarterbacks in the future of the NFL. Like, he very well could be. He showed exactly what he showed in college. He has an elite deep ball. He is incredibly athletic, and honestly, he looked comfortable in the pocket. He flees a little bit too fast, but like he's so freakishly athletic that guys like him and Lamar could do that, and they're going to create plays. So he has a skill that he can always lean on, and I mean, Jaden's special. And that Commanders defense sucks, which will keep them from being super special. But, like, they're in a good situation. Yeah. They're in a really good situation offensively. And Terry's happy now.
Terry's unleashed.
Terry is happy now.
Yeah, I mean, it was so obvious for them, like, through 2 weeks. I mean, we didn't talk about them much on the pod, so I don't know if I'm on record saying this, but it was just so obvious that like you mentioned, the playbook was going to expand because they were so efficient through the first 2 weeks. So, like, the problem with Cliff Kingsbury was, like, his college-style offense, but that shit was working through 2 weeks. Like, they were driving the ball with ease. Obviously, there were no big plays, and against the Giants, 0 for 6 in the red zone. That's a problem, but that's also just, like...
There's a lot of penalties, too.
Yeah, it's also an anomaly that'll never happen. Like, they're never going to go 0 for 6 in the red zone in terms of touchdowns ever again this season, but... It was just a matter of time before, Jaden just ripped a couple of them. And, I mean, just the overall composure and poise he showed in this game, like, at the line, changing protections, changing calls, standing in there in the pocket and taking hits while launching the ball. Like he was just
Got popped.
and he has that Lamar sense where it's not just the athleticism, you know, and speed, but it's also in those read option situations, just always making the right read. Always making the right read. I mean, he was reading that shit to perfection. You know, you look at some of those like crucial 3rd and 4th downs where he was keeping the ball. I thought he was sliding too. Some of the, obviously he took some hits, but fuck it. Like, fuck it, we ball like
Grown
that.
man's game.
Yeah,
He's
fuck
got to
it.
chill with that though. He's a very.
I mean, that's his
skinny
fucking
dude.
game, bro. Like, like you don't want him to get hit, but fuck, if he's gonna put his life on the line for the team, like, you know, I don't know. I can't blame a guy for that.
And you want that 10 out of 10 times. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. But at the same time, he is rail thin right now for an NFL quarterback. That's dangerous. Like, if he keeps taking hits, because he gets hit hard. He doesn't, like, it seems like, I forget, there was a meme out there before Jaden started, like, this season, and it was like, Jaden looks like a cartoon character every time he gets hit. Even in college, he was always just getting popped and tossed around. And look, these are NFL defenders now. It'll catch up to you real quick. But, I mean, I think he'll learn. You know, as time goes on, you learn how to slide. You learn how to get down because you take those hits.
Oh, I thought he did a good job getting down.
He did a
last
better
night
job last night
for the
than he did
most
in his
part.
first 2 games.
I thought for the most part overall, like through the first 3 games, like obviously there, bro. When it got, what do you take like 20 rushing attempts in week 1? I think it was down a little bit
gonna
this
take
week,
some
but
shots.
but yeah, like you're gonna get hit. Like it's just
Right.
that's just part of it. But I mean, he looks fucking dynamic in the run game. He was hitting all over the field last night. I mean, like we mentioned, the Bengals defense was just sorry. I don't know how you have them at a 2nd and 20 and you allow 2 straight screen passes to Dynamic Brown to make it a 4th and 4 or whatever it was. Like I just like I don't understand. The first time and you let them get like 7 yards the first time, like whatever, it's still 3rd and long. But
Right.
like how do you how do you let a team do the same thing to you twice to make it 4th and manageable?
Especially when you called him out for only running.
Yeah,
screens.
like I don't
You know?
understand how you allow that. So no, I mean as you know, I have Jaden Daniels in Dynasty, so yeah, I'm super impressed, super happy, for sure.
Yeah, he's ultra talented.
Shout out to everyone on the Commanders. So shout
Their
out.
O-line played great.
Yeah, shout out to
football
the
last night.
O-line. Shout out to the defense who like they gave out points, but they made some timely stops when they needed to. You know,
Bengals couldn't do shit in the red zone either.
Yeah.
yeah, they made. Yeah,
That's on both.
Yeah.
That's on both.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, the Commanders'
I mean-
defense isn't good, but like
Right,
they,
no, of course
It's
not.
real
you
bad.
know, they had their
Got
moments.
the job done.
They had their moments.
It is real bad. But yeah, I mean, they
Shout out to them. People are watching, bro. They're fun. People are gonna be watching.
Yeah, no,
they're
definitely gonna tune
so
in.
entertaining.
Especially like that's his first primetime game too, and I forget who said it on the McAfee show. It might have been Belichick, but like Jaden Daniels he played a lot of big primetime
Yep.
games and nationally televised games in LSU, so not afraid of the spotlight. You saw him like calling to go for it on 4th down. Like he's not afraid of the moment, and that's a huge.
He has
thing to
it,
want.
too.
Yeah,
It's
he's got the dog factor.
Some
Yeah.
with these LSU players, because like Malik Neighbors has. I know you guys see it and know, but like Malik Neighbors has it too. Brian Thomas Loki has it too, but like
Yeah,
No, he does. No, he's a dog.
Derek Stingley has that shit too. Like
Yep.
like
Sure
it's
does.
something
They
that
have an
comes.
Yeah,
They have an
that's a good
edge.
way to.
Yeah, it's something that comes out of that school for
Justin
sure.
Jefferson. I mean,
Yeah.
Jamar.
Jamar. Yeah,
They
Yeah,
all got
Jaden
those
like
edge.
Jaden Daniels has
Yep.
that shit for sure, which is something you're always looking for. That
right.
like
Yeah.
like I mentioned at the top of the show, it's an emotional sport. So you need every edge you could get. So if guys have a mental edge like that, like you'd rather them be on your team than go against them.
Right. Some guys like I think a lot of guys you can't scout that too. Like especially at the NFL level. Like I feel like a guy like Baker. No matter what the talent was, you knew he had that in him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there are some guys that they get to the league and it's too overwhelming and they just can't handle it. But yeah, it's good to see
Like
so
Juju,
early on
Juju didn't have that. Like for real.
till he laid out. Von
For
Bell.
no,
He had
but
multiple good seasons in the NFL.
no, he had a great he had
Yeah.
his moments, but Juju did not have that.
He didn't have. Well,
He did not have that. Not
it's
like these
dog.
guys have.
That's what it is. It's dog.
Yeah.
Juju didn't have.
I don't
that.
even know if it's dog
Well,
because like
I don't
Juju
know.
was a dog.
Juju
but like,
was a
like,
Remember
whatever
when he laid
the-
out Vontez Perfect?
Oh,
bro?
Vontez Perfect.
Yeah,
I said
laid
no,
that
yeah, for
man
sure.
out.
That was cool.
Yeah,
that was a cool moment.
But then he did
like,
TikTok dances.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, he took all of his aura back.
Yeah,
he
he
had
lost all
so
the dog.
much aura after that.
like shit,
season
Michael
and laying
Beasley's
him
a cool freaking character to reflect on. Michael Beasley didn't have that.
No.
Like Michael Beasley, like he just didn't. Like some guys have that shit. Some guys really, really don't.
Michael Beasley in the rec has it.
Yeah, yeah.
Not in the NBA though.
No.
You don't want to see that man on a 1v1 or a 3v3.
No.
You don't want to.
No.
He will talk shit. It's
Hassan Whiteside didn't have that.
no. No, Hassan Whiteside was running around that locker room like a goofball. You remember that video? The Mario Kart?
Yes. Bro, what? Where does that even come from?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of
guys
guys
don't got it.
We had a laundry list of guys who did have it. I was trying to think of guys who didn't.
Hassan Whiteside came to mind.
NFL though, who do you think of that doesn't have a dog?
Like a nonchalant dreadhead. Like Alvin Kamara, bro.
I'm sorry, Trevor Lawrence doesn't have dog.
No,
He used to, though.
he used to.
was
Yeah, he
supposed
got,
to,
Trev
bro.
did have dog.
He got
Deadass
taken out
got
of
that
him.
shit taken out, bro. He
Yeah.
got surgery, bro.
Yeah.
Bro has fucking
Trev
surgery.
no longer has dog.
Had that
in
shit
him.
taken right out of him.
Kamara's
He-
got some dog in him.
No, Kamara has dog in him.
Remember when he scored?
He's
Bro.
so nonchalant, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he has dog in him. He definitely does.
Bro, where's
Bro,
grills?
6
like
touch-
fire-ass
exactly.
grills in
No,
the game,
he's
you know?
a great football player.
No,
I'm not, like,
obviously,
yeah, he
yeah.
scored 6 touchdowns. He's a great football
No, but like
player.
you don't
but,
think Kamara has dog?
he doesn't? It's not dog. It's like that edge. Like no.
Like a chip on their shoulder.
Like that Tom Brady, like obviously no one had it like Brady, but like, or like Kobe, like those guys, but like no, like Kamara don't got that.
Okay. I guess.
You don't
Like
have it
I'm
like
sure he has it like to an extent.
no, but not
like
like Marshawn Lynch.
yes,
Oh,
yeah,
Lord.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
Yeah, okay,
exactly,
that's a great
exactly,
point.
exactly.
That's a great
Kamara
point.
fucking jogs into the end zone, bro.
Marshawn Lynch got the ball and was hungry.
Yeah,
You know who
He was trying
doesn't
to
have
feed.
it? All right, he looks insane to start the season. But Saquon. Like Saquon doesn't have that. I don't think.
Saquon's literally the running back version of Jalen Hurts.
yeah.
Like he's literally just
Yes.
like he's a really
That's
good
a
player,
great
but
point.
he goes out there with those fucking dumb leadership quotes and just like bro, I said in the group chat the other day. Someone
So
on Twitter,
like they like fake have it.
kinda, yeah. I
They
mean,
try to have it.
someone on Twitter said that Jalen Hurts is just Tyrod Taylor with leadership quotes. Like, I think that's hilarious.
I mean, yeah, he is.
Yeah,
You're
shout out
right.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, shout out
Monday.
Jaden Daniels. He's
Wrap
he's
it
got
all
it.
Yeah, he got it. He got it.
All right, what are we moving on to next?
Next was we talked about one rookie quarterback that looked sensational
Oh, yeah.
last night. And we wanted to talk about another rookie quarterback that's got, there's some controversy about him because some people don't know whether to blame him, blame the team, or both. Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick, most generational prospect we've seen. Some people thinking he might not have it. He might not be it. You know what I mean?
You know what? I'm glad we just had the conversation that we had because he doesn't have that.
I think he
I don't know,
does. I think he does.
I think he's gonna be great.
I don't
But
know.
I don't think
I've
he has
seen
that.
him.
Jaden's different. I don't know. Something about him.
You don't know if he has. You don't know if he has that edge to him.
I don't know. They have different skill sets, but in terms of that edge, like I've seen Caleb kind of like he'll do what it takes. Like
Yeah.
Caleb, and like he'll talk shit if he has to. Like yeah, I think he has it.
So
I think he.
I'll
does.
pose a question like this. We that's a different conversation. But do we think that the Bears and Caleb's struggles are more on Caleb or more on the Bears?
I think it's
I think it's a healthy dose of both.
a healthy dose of
Yeah.
both. It's
I
a
think,
healthy dose of both, but it's a lot. Like it's a big dose of on the Bears in the situation that he's in, and me included, we overestimated how good his situation was, and it always starts in the trenches. It always starts in the trenches, and the O-line has been. I mean, they've given nothing. The run game has given nothing, and for any quarterback in a situation, especially a young quarterback, but for any quarterback in a situation where your O-line's not holding up and you have no run game and you're not keeping the defense honest, like it's going to be hard. He had to throw the ball 52 times in this game against the Colts. Like that's just
Not
not
what you wanna
ideal
do it,
for a
yeah.
rookie quarterback. Obviously, when the time comes, sure, like let Caleb swing that rock, but we look at how the Patriots are protecting Drake May by not even letting him play.
Thank
But
God.
like, you want to protect your rookie quarterback, and I know Caleb's supposed to come in and be generational, but like at the end of the day, shit, this is the NFL. some guys it just takes like a little bit longer. Like, you know, some guys aren't, I don't know, some guys aren't CJ Stroud who come in and immediately.
So that's what I was going to ask. Do you think if CJ Stroud and the Texans don't do what they did last year, does Caleb still come in with the same chip on his shoulder and the expectations?
I think we'd still have pretty high expectations for Caleb because
no matter what.
I don't think they would be as high, but I still think we'd have pretty high expectations
People were
after
expecting him to like go to the playoffs and win a playoff
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
though.
no, I think it'd be.
That was
crazy.
the most ridiculous.
Yeah, I
thing
thought that was crazy.
Yeah, I think it'd
especially
be
Bears fans.
Yeah, I think it'd be different if CJ Stroud didn't happen. But they, you know, they just got Keenan. They had a really good defense last year at the end of the year. Like there still would have been expectations, but
right.
You know, he needed more than a game, more than 2 games to get comfortable, and that's okay.
Yeah,
like it was.
More than 3.
It was So all right, so he was really bad in week 1. He had 93 yards. He didn't throw a touchdown. They snuck by a win against the Texans. It was better. It was better. He still didn't throw a touchdown.
Right.
There were still
It was like from
some
diarrhea
turnovers, but it was better.
to less bad diarrhea.
And then here, it was just here against the Colts. Everything kind of shifted a little bit to where when we talk about it being a healthy dose of blame to go around between the team and Caleb, it kind of shifted a little bit in this game. And it was, to me, it was a lot less on Caleb and a lot more on the Bears. I mean, they ran the ball for not a lot of yards as a team. As a team, they ran the ball for
week is great,
63 yards. Yeah, DeAndre Swift was not on shit. And
Bro,
I'm
done with him. Forget it.
And like I mentioned, Caleb had to throw the ball 52 times. He got sacked 4 times. He had 2 interceptions in this game, but he really only had 1 turnover-worthy play. One of the interceptions was on Rome, and I thought there was a lot more, obviously given the fact that he had, 360 yards, 33 completions. So it was just obviously a lot more volume in this game, so it's going to come, but there was a lot more of that Caleb magic that makes him so special that we saw on display. And there was a lot of times where in this game where Caleb turned something into nothing. And, you know, it still wasn't great. Like, you know, still, he's really not holding on to the ball for that long either. I don't know. You're on PFF right now.
No,
so
you're 100%.
I think it's about average his time to throw right now. It's about middle of the pack. So, like, he's really, and that was a concern with him. And sometimes when you watch the film, like, it does look like he's holding on to that bitch for
First couple
too long.
games, it was worse than what it was.
But the pressure is just getting there so fast too, where he's bailing on the pocket so quick, and he really doesn't have a choice. You know, obviously, you know, more times than not, especially old heads, you want your quarterback to stand in there and make the throw, but especially rookie quarterbacks, we see it. They're just more prone to bailing on the pocket just because they're not as experienced. They don't know how much they could take in there. But I really do think for the most part, I thought in this game, Caleb, you know, obviously he had an actual chance to win at the end there, you know, didn't convert. But I thought for the most part, he really gave them their only chance to win. Obviously, the defense was still pretty good. Anthony Richardson just sucks on the other side. So that's a whole different thing. But, I mean, having literally zero semblance of a run game, and, like, I can't believe that it's gotten worse since week 1. Like, Caleb's gotten better every week so far, and the run game's just gotten worse and worse and worse. Like, it's really, like, they literally, legitimately have it's the worst run game in the NFL right now.
No, it is. I agree.
Like, and it's really not even close. So, like, no quarterback's going to particularly succeed there. But, you know, we temper expectations a little bit given the situation with the team. The team overall is just not as good as we thought. Caleb probably isn't as good as we thought he was going to be coming out, and that's fine. So, you know, you temper expectations a little bit, and to me it becomes a little bit less about wins and losses and more about show me the flashes, show me what you got. And I thought in this game there was a lot more flashes than we saw in week 1 and week 2, and I feel like for me I feel like that's all you could ask.
Yeah. You pretty much said everything I wanted to say. I think the positive things for Caleb is that his natural tools have clearly translated well. I mean, he still has a rocket of an arm. He can move in and out he can move in the pocket, and I still feel like every time he does move out of the pocket, something amazing is about to happen. So I think physically he's translated really well to the NFL. I don't think his IQ or decision making is really all that bad. I think his timing is off with some of his receivers, and I think him and Rome were building a special connection this game. That's for sure. I mean, you mentioned it. The one pick he had was bad. I mean, he was about to get hit. He threw a duck. It was late, and The other one, though, I think it hit off Rome's hands, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Jalen Jones, who had a hell of a game for the Colts, just made a great play to keep the ball in bounds and pick it off.
Yeah, that was a nasty
Yeah,
interception.
for sure.
It was,
But you, like you said, I mean, you give especially a rookie quarterback. I mean, even Bill Belichick has said it that every quarterback, their best friend is the run game. You have a rookie quarterback, no run game, no pass protection, but he has great weapons, so he's supposed to just make it work. That's just not how the NFL works, especially for a rookie. So, I think you're right. Let's just let him be a rookie. Let's not throw him into the generational talent conversation yet. We know that, but let's just let him be a rookie. He's gotten better every week, and showed like he threw some really good passes this week. Like the deep touchdown to Romo Dunes was a beautiful ball, and that's one thing too. I feel like every time the ball comes off his hands, it looks like a good ball. You know what I mean? And
yeah, he's missing a bunch.
He's missing throws,
missing
and my
a
one
bunch.
thing is he throws it too hard.
He does.
He throws it with
his-
so much
the
heat
touch
on
isn't
it.
there. The touch isn't there like
Josh,
where you would want
like
it to
Josh
be.
came in with a similar
Yeah.
problem.
Right, I'm saying like
Some of these guys come
everything-
in with the same
his
problem.
issues are more than
He's
fixable.
so
Like,
fixable.
you know,
So
3 games
fixable.
into his rookie season, if you expected the Bears to win the NFC or win a playoff game, even I think you just jumped the gun a little bit. So, and I think that's okay. So yeah, like you said, let's just
Yeah,
let
I
him be a
think when
rookie.
you really like dive in and break it down, like the flaws that he might have had, I don't even think they're as bad as some people. Like, you know, like I keep mentioning, the time to throw, like I would have thought, especially watching the games too, I would have thought it was much higher. I would have thought it was like bottom 10 type of thing. But for him to be in the middle of the pack, like that's about where you want him to be. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he's
especially with a horrible offense.
yeah, I mean, you know, especially in week 1 and week 2, again, the pocket presence and stuff like that is real and like is a real like concern, I guess, and like, you know, the bailing on the clean pockets sometimes and just trying to do too much. Like I think most people knew like we were gonna get some of that. Like, you know, when you're a player like him who's just so magical and can do so much, like sometimes you're gonna try and do too much, and then.
Yeah.
Like we keep saying, when the situation's worse than everyone thought, like we're gonna see him try and do too much. Like we're gonna see games worse than what we saw this week from
Yeah,
him.
that's-
Like
yeah.
like it's not gonna. I'd love for it to be, but it's not gonna be straight line for 17
No, no,
games.
of course
But I think, you know, I'll end with this, and then you could have the format, EJ. But given through 3 weeks, I mean, a guy getting better every week, I just can't complain about that. I just can't. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys thought I was going to get on the mic here and just be negative about Caleb. Like, I have no reason to be. Most of the blame, I want to say, goes to the situation around him more than anything else. And it's wild, the double standard that we've now taken because of the fact that we came in with the thought process of he's got the best situation that any rookie quarterback has ever had. And now here we are all saying, oh, the situation around him sucks, blah, blah, blah. But things change. Like, things need to be fluid.
And people are wrong.
We were very wrong. Everybody
We're here to make educated guesses.
was very wrong. And look, the problem is I don't think the pass protection has necessarily been as bad as people think it is. But I will say the fact that this man has legitimately zero run game, that benefits absolutely nobody. And it needs to be stated that in other situations, eventually, when you don't have a run game, it's going to catch up to you. Even as a vet quarterback, as some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, Caleb is in his first 3 games of his rookie season, and no running back has averaged more than, like, I feel 4 yards per
I think
carry.
Swift is at 1.8 or something.
Yes,
On the
real
season?
bad.
Oh
Real
my
bad.
God.
Yeah, he's horrendous. He's not just the O-line being bad at run blocking. He is also not a good runner. Point blank.
Oh no.
It doesn't
Terrible.
fit. It's not a good look for them, and it's just Caleb is I just spit on the mic. Caleb is in a real bad
Welcome to the Talk Tua
situation
podcast.
yeah, right, bro. It's just he's set up to have a rough start to his career, but as you guys said, I think a lot of these things can be fixed. He hasn't held the ball as much as we think he has. His first 2 games were a little rough, but this past one was actually the quickest he's been getting the ball out. I think he's operating better with instruction. I think he will increasingly do so. Oh, boy, what happened here? But I think he'll be fine. What happened?
Quote of the century.
Yeah. I think he's going to be just fine. I think the Caleb is Caleb. I mean, what else did we really expect? We thought he was going to be great from day one, but he's a rookie. And, you know, we got our expectations warped because C.J. Stroud stepped into a situation and proved to be one of the best quarterbacks that we've ever seen in their first year. And we kind of expected the same out of Caleb, and it's just not so fair because we call him a generational prospect. He wasn't as polished as C.J. coming out. And that's the truth.
It's also just like we have to remember that no one expected the Texans to be good. Everyone expected them to be one of the worst teams in the league. And
expectations were completely
right,
different.
and then they blew everyone's mind. So and like that doesn't happen for a top 3 pick ever. It never happens. Like C.J. Stroud had one of the, if not the best rookie seasons ever. So like I just think people need to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to throw a bunch more interceptions. He may have a Peyton-level rookie season where the man throws 20 interceptions. But you know what? I'm going to feel no differently about him because some of these guys can go through a bunch of mistakes, fix them, and be far better the next season.
Hopefully Keenan gets back on the field sometime soon, too, because that'll help.
Definitely help.
Keenan had 11 targets his first game,
one,
so like he wants.
I
to
mean,
throw
it didn't
the ball,
translate to anything.
No, but he
not.
wants to throw the ball. Clearly,
He's a good safety blanket for a rookie quarterback.
Exactly, yeah.
So
and
if the connection with Rome gets stronger, and then you add a guy like Keenan Allen back in there, it'll.
DJ seems to be the guy.
I mean, there's brighter days ahead for them.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
just crazy. Like Swift
season
was the first player signed in free agency, and that means like that tells me you didn't even think about Saquon or Henry or Aaron Jones or shit. Even Zach Moss would have been better for you.
They were fooled, man.
Yeah, they really were.
Tried to tell y'all, man.
They really were.
I tried to tell y'all about Swift.
Yeah.
Fools.
It's not all his fault either, but he's definitely not helping.
No, he's not good.
He's definitely not.
It's not his fault.
I mean, he might have lost the job moving forward. They used Roschon Johnson.
They were saying Roschon was a healthy scratch week 1. I don't know what he did week 2, and then week 3
what do they have against Khalil Herbert?
He's not that good
dude,
either.
He is good.
I like Roschon better than.
I think
Herbert.
Herbert's a better running back than Roschon Johnson. That man deserves.
I don't know.
It's
what do you like, ass or more ass?
Hey, whoa! Herbert's good. He's good at football. Give him a chance. Give him a chance.
I'll personally always take more ass over less ass.
I like Roschon, and I have him in our dynasty.
A lot of guys
would
do the same thing, to be honest. So
less is more sometimes.
Sometimes it's just about the shape.
True. No, that's true. Okay.
I don't know where to go with those statements.
Shape over size? You've never heard that?
Never.
That's a thing, man.
I've heard girth over length. I've never heard shape over size.
All right, well, another NFC North team, the Minnesota Vikings, starting the season 3-0. Sam Darnold looks primed for an MVP season, as we all expected. What are our thoughts here about the Vikings coming off 2 really impressive victories? Sam Darnold in the MVP race. Is this sustainable? Is it a fluke? What are we feeling?
All right, so talking about having a big dick.
Wow.
Sam Darnold.
That's coming in hot.
Sam Darnold. Kevin O'Connell's an offensive mastermind. I think we all saw this one coming, at least a little bit. Some of us were very high on Sam Darnold coming into the season.
I was going to say, I don't think anybody saw this coming.
I don't think I saw this coming at any point, but I thought Sam was going to be good for the Vikings. I mean,
yeah.
You expressed that, I think, too. You thought Sam was going to be decent.
I thought solid, yeah. I didn't think this good. I did not know this was.
I think you thought Sam was going to be at least decent
I
enough.
honestly think, I'm trying to think back. I might have been the highest on the Vikings out of all of us.
You were the highest.
I remember
I think I was pretty high on the Vikings.
I remember saying that they had the most underrated offseason, but I still didn't think they'd be anywhere.
I said they'd be like
good.
6-11.
Yeah.
You were, and 100%, you should take your victory lap because
I was.
You were the highest on the Vikings.
I think he's getting there.
You thought they were way better than people were saying they would be. You didn't necessarily.
I mean, I thought this was the best division in football for sure going in,
and it is. It's proven to be exactly.
I mean, they
that,
have
so.
like we're gonna talk about Darnold, and I'll give you guys the floor a little bit. I feel like I've been talking a lot, but I just aside from Darnold, like just the infrastructure, and this has been a long podcast so far, but back to the beginning when we're talking about the Jaguars and all that negative Nancy shit, you look at the Vikings and it's just the infrastructure from top to bottom. the coaching staff, the front office, the moves they've made over the past few years, the ability to move on from some players and let it go, the draft picks they've made, the free agency moves they've made, the way they've built the culture, the way they skull clap, like they've set everything up so perfectly that if Sam Darnold didn't succeed, like he's just a bum, like respectfully.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to him for succeeding, and we're going to talk about that. But if he didn't succeed, like, it would look really bad because the infrastructure is just so great from top to bottom. So, shout out to them for that. But
I mean, we said going in that this was going to be, like, to this week, this was the litmus test for them. Like, this was how legit are you? And, I mean, look, it needs to be said, Sam Darnold, yes, as great of a situation as he's been placed in, great offensive line. Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the NFL. Kevin O'Connell is arguably the best offensive head coach in the entire NFL, right up there with Shanahan and McVay. I mean, you could start to put him in those territories. I mean, this team has no business to be 3-0 right now, and not only has no business to be 3-0, but to be 3-0 the way that they are now,
Easily.
3-0. Like, it could be one thing if they squeaked out with 3 very close, fluky wins, and we could be here like, oh, the Vikings may not be legit. They could be they are 3-0, but they're not legit. No. This is a different kind of 3-0.
This isn't a Seahawks 3-0.
No. They've smacked each of the teams they've played in the mouth. And week 1, we just thought the Giants were really bad. And they could be. They may very well be really bad. But it's starting to make me feel a hell of a lot better when you have C.J. Stroud struggling and not playing well against the Minnesota Vikings and them losing by a bigger margin than we did. So all I'm saying is the Vikings are very much legit because they just also smacked a Super Bowl contender in a lot of people's eyes straight in the mouth. It's a great defense. Brian Flores has consistently put together great defenses with greater than the sum of their parts. And I think you gave them credit. I didn't give them as much credit for their personnel. They have a very good defense on paper,
their
too.
defense is sick.
Looking at it now. Like, they have great safeties, great corner. Well, Stephon Gilmore signing there changed a lot as well. So they're stacked. I mean, all around, there aren't many flaws in this football team. There really isn't, which is crazy to say. Their biggest flaw is Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold has played lights-out football to this point. Yeah. So I'm not going to crown him yet. I still want to see an extended period of Sam Darnold. We saw, 3 great games of Sam Darnold in Carolina. Granted, McCaffrey then got hurt. But, yeah, man, this looks very much for real.
Yeah, no, you guys pretty much hit everything. I mean, it starts with, this defense is out of this world. You got Brock Purdy going up to the defensive coordinator after the game to tell him that his scheme is unbelievable and really hard to read. And then you got C.J. Stroud, a guy who in his second season, but we consider him one of the best processors in the league already as a quarterback, and he was struggling against this team. So that's why, like, yeah, I'm with you. I'm not totally ready to crown them yet. I can't wait to see him play the Jets.
Yes.
And in the Sam Darnold revenge game. And if Brian Flores can get the best of Aaron Rodgers, the best processor maybe of all time at the quarterback position, and like you can't fool that guy. You can't show him anything he's never seen and can't adjust to. If he can get the best of Aaron Rodgers in that game, that'll really speak volume to me. On the offensive side of the ball, though, yeah, Sam Darnold's been balling, and they're getting T.J. Hawkinson back. They're getting Jordan Addison back possibly this week, and it's only going to get better from there. So it's really scary how they dog walked the Texans, and then the Jets, and then a bye, and then they get Lions, Rams, Colts, Jacksonville, Tennessee. Like it's going to continue. It has to. Kevin O'Connell, absolute mastermind. Sam Darnold playing lights out, probably will remain in the MVP conversation. I mean, he's on pace for 45 touchdowns on the year. Like, yeah, it's not normal.
Not sure that holds up.
No, not sure that holds up. Did you see Belichick flame the Jets on the Pat McAfee show? He was like, anyone I've spoken to around the league always loved Sam Darnold except the Jets.
Yep.
He was like, when he was with Carolina, they loved him. He had a stint with the Rams, they loved him. San Fran loved him.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was just funny. But yeah, shout out Sam Darnold, shout out the Vikings, and they're really balling right now.
It goes to show that if you give some of these quarterbacks a proper infrastructure and proper coaching, and sometimes you sit for a while, things could work.
Wait,
Like-
so if you throw a rookie quarterback out into a terrible situation where he isn't ready
And
he's
builds
clearly
bad
ready,
habits.
and builds bad habits and doesn't have a good team around him, you mean he's not gonna do well right away?
Wait, I had no idea. that's the
Wow.
case. I really didn't. I thought that if you're the number 1 or number 2 or 3 or a top 10 pick in general, that you
Right.
could just go into any situation, as bad as it may be, and
No, yeah,
you know,
I always thought if a quarterback had a bad team, he was just a bum. Like that's kinda,
Yeah,
it's kind of just how that works.
typically
and if
how
a
it
quarterback has a great team, he's just a system quarterback. I don't know.
yeah, it's almost like talent can be molded.
Right. Yeah.
Honestly, maybe
It is
You know?
crazy though. Like on some real shit. Like Tom Brady has been preaching about this since he
And
retired.
yet we
about
still don't.
Yeah, about benching the quarterbacks. But
You know.
yeah, I mean, no, the
What does
Vikings.
Tom Brady know though?
No, yeah, he's only won a million.
Or Bill
Super Bowls.
Belichick? What
Yeah,
does either
also
of those
only won a
guys-
million Super Bowls. You know.
No,
I
don't know.
But yeah, no, the Vikings are on a different level, and I do think they're like the NFC is kind of wide open right now, especially if the Niners are going
Yeah,
to be banged up for the rest of the season. I mean, who is going to come out on top? The Lions don't look like themselves or who we thought they were. Like I said, the Niners are banged up. The Eagles suck. The Cowboys suck.
So do we think they win the division? Like actually?
No, I don't.
I still think the Lions are going to get right. I still think there's an untapped ceiling there. And shit, the Packers are 2-1 without Jordan Love. Like, I mean, they're there too. This is, like Chris said, this is the best division in football.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, this defense, it's just, and it starts at the top, but not only are they a great group playing so well, they just, I mean, we talked about it earlier, just that it factor and that chip on the shoulder. This is a bunch of dudes who've kind of been passed around. I mean, you look at Jonathan Grenard, who was great for the Texans and broke out onto the scene last year. They were quick to move on from him. Andrew Van Ginkel had a breakout year last year. He ended up getting his bag. They bring him in. He bounced around. You know, you have Shaq Griffin, who's there, Byron Murphy, who's there. These are all guys who've been elsewhere before. You have veterans on the inside, like up front. You have Harrison Phillips. You have Jerry Tillery up there. You still have Harrison Smith, who's the veteran of all veterans. But then you have some young guys. You have Blake Cashman at the linebacker, who's not that old. You have Ivan Pace, who's he's in his third year now? Second year now. Yeah. Ivan Pace, he's dating that girl who's dating the guy on the bank.
What?
He's dating that. I said she. He's dating that girl who is dating the offensive lineman on the Bengals
She
for
has
a
two
while.
boyfriends?
No.
Oh.
She's dating Ivan Pace now. She used to date an offensive lineman on the Bengals. They made TikToks together, but he cheated on her, and then she ended up hanging out with that dude who makes those country songs and sits in the car, Adrian Nunez. I know you guys have seen him. He played basketball at Michigan.
No idea.
You know who I'm talking. You know all this, bro. Amanda put me on to all this drama.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, but then he used her.
You can tell which one of us has a girlfriend here.
He used her to make another new country. So they linked up after
He doesn't. What's
bro on the Bengals cheated on her.
True.
This girl and this country singer man linked up, and this country singer man also got cheated on like 2 years ago, but drags it. Yeah, he got cheated on by his teammate, Jordan Poole, at Michigan. And drags it.
Jordan Poole would, bro.
Drags it and made a song. So they both got cheated on. He got cheated on years ago, but he was making a song to blow up. So they linked up pretty much for promo
This
for
is the most passionate you've been.
Listen,
this whole
listen. Hear me out. Linked up to promote the song.
Okay.
The whole time she's dating Ivan Pace after she moved on from the offensive lineman from the Bengals who cheated on her. She's dating Ivan Pace. So now they're linking up country guy and girl who dates Ivan Pace.
Yeah.
Linking up, posting mad TikToks. They stop linking up. People see her and Ivan Pace. They're like, oh my God, she's cheating on bro. Country bro. But we're like, no, she's been with him. And then Country Bro made a new country song pretty much like calling this girl out, saying that she was like cheating on him and did him dirty or whatever, but they were never dating anyway. So the whole time he was hanging out with her as a publicity stunt to promote his old song just to end up promoting
Making
a new song. That's
Yo, this
nuts.
guy's playing chess, bro.
He's a genius, but he's kind of a bitch.
He's a bitch, but he's playing chess.
He's also a genius.
That's nuts, right? A lot going on. So shout out to Ivan Pace. They have a lot.
Is she?
Man, Hawk 2 has a
don't
podcast.
answer
Like that shit's going on. We're doing something wrong, man. It's
like, don't answer that question.
it's way easier than it seems.
Yeah.
Send me your Instagram.
Yeah, but no, the Vikings have such a cool group of guys on defense, and it starts at the top. top with Brian Flores, who kind of got written off a little bit too after what happened in Miami. So it's just cool. A lot of bounce back stories. Just another little tidbit just to point out before we move on.
More drama?
No, just another tidbit about the Vikings. I talk about it with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers all the time in Green Bay. I absolutely love, like 10 out of 10. This is so hot, so sexy, the way they get Justin Jefferson involved early. And I think he scored the first touchdown for them in all 3 of their games. So I think in this game, I don't think he even had a catch in the second half of the game. He did all his damage in the first half. But just the way, because it's a crazy concept, but when you have the best receiver in the league and you give him the ball early, you're probably going to put up points. And if your defense could stop the other team from putting up points while you're doing that, you're going to get off to a big lead.
Wow.
And we've seen that happen. So,
It's almost like Kevin O'Connell's a good coach or something.
Yeah, no, I talked about it when Marvin got phased out of the offense in week 1. I'm always a fan of force feeding your number one. You got to give your playmakers the rock. And I think they do as good of a job as anyone of like Justin Jefferson's obviously great.
Yeah, he's just always
like,
open.
Yeah, he's not like made
literally.
not made by the scheme or anything, but the scheme helps him immensely.
Yeah,
for sure. Like like he would still be great regardless. I'm not taking anything away from Justin Jefferson, but being in this scheme, like they make sure he eats, and that's always important. It just builds momentum for the course of a game. If you could get, the easiest passes are going to be to the guys who are the best at catching the ball.
Some things stand the test of time.
Yeah,
that's always worked. It's always
sometimes it's just as simple as that. And like I always have respect for a coach who kind of dumbs the game in this complex NFL where we're breaking things down so much in the way we are. I always love some simplicity of just let's give our best player the ball early on in the game.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen Kevin O'Connell has quite literally schemed himself into being one of the best coaches in the entire NFL.
He coached himself into being one of the best coaches in the NFL.
Like it doesn't make sense, but it does.
Is he off the Shanahan tree?
Yes, I'm pretty sure he is. He's off the McVay tree, I think, which is the Shanahan tree.
Right.
Yeah, the Mick Shanahan tree.
Right. Yeah.
It's like he's really become such a special and unique. Like he's taken a lot of the concepts and just turned them into his own thing, and it's really beautiful to watch. Like he genuinely is.
I mean, cute thing, such a simple concept. Get your best player the ball early so you could A, build a lead, or B, he's engaged in the game, and when you need him later on, if you need him later on, he's ready to go.
And Jettis isn't even the type.
Yeah, but it's just it's such a simple thing that not every coach in the NFL is doing.
Right.
Yep.
And so many coaches throughout the course of time didn't do. Like it's just such a simple thing. Such a simple thing.
I feel like maybe they just overcomplicate it, and they're like, no, they're going to focus all their attention on this guy. We got to try and get.
Sometimes it's like let's try and trick them off the rip instead of being simple and giving
and working.
That's why I always like
work forwards, not backwards.
Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. So those few years, like for a quarterback, receiver, and offensive standpoint, like they just did everything perfectly. They're just like the model for me of what I'm looking for.
Well, it didn't matter what coverage you threw at Devontae. Because Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams just had a different level of connection. They were on the same
brand.
I know, but I think part of the reason why, like obviously they're just like all-time Hall of Fame players, but part of why their connection was so great was the fact that Devontae was always schemed into the offense very early on in the game. Like early on, and Tom Brady said this numerous times too, like your best players, like you got to make sure they see the ball early in the game. Like it affects... Bro, they're running like fucking 60 routes throughout the course of a game. Like you gotta keep them fucking engaged, bro. So yeah, shout out to the Vikings, man. All in all, I don't know how legit. It's the thing is the quarterback landscape in the NFC. There's not too many guys who are really super experienced. There's Jared Goff. There's Jalen Hurts, who's been there.
Stafford, if they get there.
I don't really include Stafford in this because I don't think there's a chance they get there.
They shocked the world.
But we'll see. But Brock Purdy's pretty experienced. But Sam Darnold, obviously going into the playoffs, is probably going to be the least experienced quarterback in the conference, even in an NFC that lacks playoff experience all around. So that's just like, even though Jalen Hurts isn't that playoff experience, like I'm going to trust Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, like who else?
Played
Like,
very well.
I mean, these other guys have been like Jalen Hurts has been to a Super Bowl. Jared Goff has been to a Super Bowl. Brock Purdy has been to a Super Bowl. Like, even if
about, like, Jordan Love and,
as
you
good
know.
as Sam Darnold's playing now, like I'm just gonna even Jordan Love, like respectfully, I've seen Jordan Love win a playoff game. Like
Right.
I'm
Yeah, of
probably
course.
gonna trust Jordan Love more than I trust Sam Darnold now, and it's not always as simple as trusting the quarterbacks, but sometimes it is.
They play, so they go to Green Bay and play the Packers. Love might
This
play.
is a big he
And then they play
practiced
the
all of
Jets,
last
yeah.
week, which is a great sign, obviously. And then
They're
Malik
2-0
Willis,
without
by the
him.
way, balled the fuck out.
Right, they're 2-0 without him, but I think they want this one. So if
This
he can
one you
play,
need.
yeah, you
Yeah,
want
if he
this
can
one
play,
real bad.
he's gonna
If
play.
he can play, he's gonna play.
I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't play,
Yeah,
given
I
how
think
he
so.
practiced last week.
I would agree, but I think
Obviously,
LaFleur
you'd be
is smart
cautious,
enough
yeah.
to know that
Especially coming off 2 wins.
you give one of these up if it means keeping your franchise quarterback fully healthy. Like,
Yeah.
it's perfectly okay, but
But shit, if he was practicing last week, he's probably
to think.
he's probably right about there.
Yeah,
He probably was good enough to go last week,
Yeah.
honestly. Maybe not at 100%, but like he
Right.
probably could have
He could've
played last
if
week.
they,
most
I-
likely.
Yeah.
they get Green Bay and then the Jets, and like we talk about revenge games. That's
a big test.
Revenge game. It's a big test for the team, for Darnold, for everyone.
Darnold, yeah.
But it is a revenge game. Like that, he's got to get his get back.
So obviously we're trying to figure out whether they're legit or not. They just smacked the shit out of the Texans. This is also a big test. Like it is.
For sure.
So like once they get the Jets, like these next two, what is it, the next two or
Next two is at Green Bay and then at home
and then
versus
it's the
Jets.
Jets. Okay. Yeah, I mean, after these next two games, I don't think we're gonna be able to come up here one way or another. We'll see what happens. And ideally you're thinking like you come back and we're going to be looking at this and saying the Vikings are very legit. Even if they take one of these two,
Yeah.
we have to be saying that the Vikings are very legit because
Yeah,
both of
I
these
would think
games are
so,
going to be
yeah.
ridiculously difficult. So, yeah, we're going to have our answer. One way or another, we're going to have our answer.
No. I'm not.
They win both. You don't think you're gonna call?
I
them
think
legit?
they're. What do we mean by legit? Like, do I think they could win the Super Bowl?
Playoff contenders. Like they are a team you don't want to play in the playoffs.
Sure.
They can make a run in the playoffs.
Yes. They can make a
A
run.
run where? Just like win a
Fine,
game or
fine.
two?
You know what? Yeah. Can they make the Super Bowl? If they win these next two, let's fucking go, Soto.
I'd probably. I mean, it depends
Oh.
how they win. Obviously, like if they go in and smoke Green Bay and smoke the Jets, it's different. But
Glaber, no, you fuck.
oh, bro's in a pickle.
No. Fuck.
Bro's dead in the
He
pickle.
really
bro.
was. He was between a rock and a hard place, literally.
Fuck.
But no, it depends obviously on how they win. If they were to win,
I'm
like
gonna-
if they
I'm gonna wait
if
till I
they
see
smoke
it.
them, it's different.
I'm not
but
ruling it
I
out,
mean,
no.
yeah, I'm probably like I really do love the group, but I'm probably gonna have as much pushback as I possibly can for as long as I can on a Sam Darnold team being a Super Bowl contender.
That's fair, but
I'd rather be wrong on it. Some things I just would rather be wrong. I'm probably not gonna say they're a Super Bowl honestly.
so they can have an amazing regular season.
Yeah, I mean, it
still
depends.
play.
Like, if they're undefeated, I'm going to have to, like, you know what I mean? Like, if they never lose,
I don't think
obviously.
anyone
but
thinks they're going.
Right.
They're 12-5. Finish the season 12-5.
You got to see how though.
I'd probably, yeah, I mean, if there's
You
probably
can't just
going
throw a
to be.
number at me and
Yeah,
expect,
there's-
you know
And
what I mean?
Darnold finishes with like 32 touchdowns.
Like, I don't know what the records
9
are going to be,
picks.
but, like, I'm just
that's
going to
insane.
go out on
that's
on a limb here and say I'm going to, you know, favor the Lions more. I'm going to favor the Niners more. I'm going to favor the Eagles more, I think. I think as things stand right now, I'd probably favor the Packers more. And, I mean, that's 4 teams right there. So, like, I don't know. How much of a contender really are you if you're 5th on the list? I know it's wide open and no one has, like, a gap on anyone. But, like, if that's
Wait,
the
you said
case...
the Packers?
Yeah.
You didn't believe in the
I
Packers.
think if the Vikings look really good over the next
I
2
believed
weeks,
in the Packers more than the Vikings.
Well, okay. All right.
I think if the Vikings look really good over the next 2 weeks, I think like to take them over the Packers isn't crazy. To take them
No,
over
yeah,
the
for
Eagles,
sure,
I don't
for sure,
think would
for sure,
be even
for sure.
crazy at that point. Like
I agree with you. That's how
I don't know. And a play... Like...
They
like,
start 5-0 with
like
this
yeah,
schedule.
if they're
forget it.
5-0, it's hard to say like right now on paper the Eagles are better than the Vikings. Like they're fucking 5-0, but like I don't know. In a playoff environment, like I don't really care what your record is going in. Like given where things stand right now,
They can also run the ball too.
like given where things stand right now, like obviously we saw the Eagles last year completely fell off and weren't that team going into the playoffs. So I'm just gonna talk about the team right now, the Eagles right now. Like I'm gonna trust Jalen Hurts and those boys over a Sam Darnold led team. Like if the Eagles are a wild card 9-7 and just sneak in, and the Vikings are 12-5, like I'm probably like I don't know. We're not there yet,
Right,
but,
yeah. I'm
but
saying
like,
like,
I'm probably gonna just go with the quarterback who's made it to a Super Bowl before.
maybe,
honestly.
but I don't know. They got lit up by Baker Mayfield.
I mean, shit,
so,
I picked the Rams to make the Super Bowl preseason. That was
Yeah, look at so
pretty firmly off the back of just Matt Stafford's experience. So,
Right.
you know, I don't know. If it's a toss-up and the teams are so similar, like,
Right,
like
that's
you know,
fair. Yeah.
and like we're talking about how the NFC is wide open because these teams are pretty level with each other. More times than not, I'm going to favor with the quarterback that has the most experience. If it's
Yeah.
like a coin flip, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fair.
All right.
I don't know. What does Sam Darnold look like in the playoffs?
I can't wait to find out.
I am so excited to find
I
out.
can't wait to find out.
But we have a lot of weeks before then, and the Vikings are not the only 3-0 team. There are multiple.
Jesus,
There
this
are
is a long
multiple
episode.
other 3-0 teams in the NFL right now, and those being the Buffalo Bills, the Minnesota Vikings, obviously as we just spoke about. Who else is 3-0? The
Kansas City
Chiefs, of
Chiefs.
course. Yeah,
Mike
Chiefs rose
Tomlin
the
and the
Chiefs.
Steelers.
Mike Tomlin once again
And the
gonna be
Seattle
over
Sea-
500.
And the Seattle Seahawks.
And the Seattle Seahawks. That's
think that's it.
gross. That's disgusting. Yeah. So, how about we all give our rankings of the 5?
Wouldn't we
remaining-
purposely want to try it a different? Didn't you purposely want to
I
try it a
did.
different way? Yeah.
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
what do you? Okay, go it a different way.
No, it's you.
No, you
I want
have to
you
do
to.
it.
I want
Yeah.
you to say like
Me
I'm.
specifically.
Yeah, like these are like I'm ranking the top 5 undefeated teams in the NFL. Blah 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 blah. Like I want you guys to react to it. Blah 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 blah. blah.
Okay. All right.
And we'll react to it like one by one. At 5, I have the blah blah blahs. Oh, I think that's a good spot for the blah blah blahs. Tom says, you know, I don't agree.
what, that
I think
fucking
I think the
sucks.
blah blah
I
blah
like
should
this,
be
I
one
like this,
spot.
I
I
like
like.
this. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
I think that
Rather than
I
a
think
shit, I don't know. I see shout out caps off, but they kind of format stuff like this.
No, it's always good
sometimes.
to
It's,
change things up,
yeah, I
just to
don't
change
know.
up the flow of the
rather than
conversation
having
and all,
3
you know?
lists going, just one list, and we kind of because this list is going to be pretty similar aside from one thing. We talked about it before
Right,
the
yeah.
show. I think
The
anyway.
reason he's making the list.
Yeah, you're so right. All right, so there are other remaining 5-0 teams in the NFL right now. 5-0, Jesus Christ. There are other remaining 3-0 teams in the NFL right now. 5, the Vikings, as we just spoke about, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Steelers, and the Seahawks. All of those teams are 3-0 at varying degrees of belief, I think we can all say. So I'll tell you guys, this is how I rank the 5 3-0 teams. At number 5, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Who have they beat? They haven't beaten anybody. And look, I came into the season saying the Seahawks defense was going to be way better than people expected. And to this point, they have been exactly that. But to this point, they have also played 3 horrendous offenses. 3-0, they beat the brakes off the Carolina. Who was it? Who did they just beat? They beat
They beat
26-3.
New England. They beat Denver.
New
They
England,
beat Miami.
Denver and Miami.
With Skylar Thompson.
Miami with Skylar. So they've won the games that they should be winning. They all haven't been pretty, but they're 3-0. They're the worst 3-0 team remaining. At number 4,
Oh, no complaints.
I don't think you guys.
Oh yeah, no complaints. I mean, I think
figured.
I still think they're a good team, but yeah, they have to be they have to be dead last because they beat no one. I mean,
I was
you know,
skipping over it because I was
no
like, come on.
impressive wins so far.
Nobody's going
Let's
to
see-
argue.
let's
the
see some
Seahawks right
comp.
now. You didn't even believe in them this year. So, all right.
They're the fakest 3-0 team of all time history. If
Okay.
you want me to be
That's
honest.
probably not true.
I think they're a good team. Their
I think
offensive
they're a
line
solid
sucks.
squad.
I think
That's the
their
problem.
offensive line sucks. I think everything else about
No,
them
they're a
is
solid
is good.
squad.
I think they're a 9-8 team.
Sure,
An 8-9, 9-8 team.
sure, that's fine.
So,
They get Detroit this week. We'll see.
I think we got into a big thing with that when we had Jason on when we did the preseason thing
I
because
said
you
they
were
were 9-8
you were like
teams.
they must be a 9-win team, and I was like, nah, I think they're probably closer to like 7 or 8. And then we went through. You were like, no.
I'm a believer. I am a believer in the
I'm a
Seahawks.
believer in the Seahawks.
Like, I
but
think they're going to be 9-8
like I said,
or 10-7.
let's see how they play Detroit this week.
Yeah.
I
Talk
just
about it again.
So I'm gonna put it number 4. I think the bottom 2 are pretty clear. I'm putting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their defense is unbelievable. It's elite. It's one of the best in the entire league. There's no doubt about it. And I will say one thing. You know how we just mentioned that top quarterback picks, you get put in a bad situation, it doesn't always work out. Well, guess what? You get put in a good situation, and you turn out to be one of the more efficient quarterbacks in the entire NFL. Justin Fields has been exactly that. He's been awesome. He's been everything the Steelers could have asked for. No, they are not a prolific offense by any means, but that is also by design. Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin, I can tell you right now, they get in that damn offensive play calling room. They plan out the week. They scheme. And you know what Mike Tomlin says? He says, run the goddamn football. And you know what Arthur Smith said? It's exactly what I was planning on doing in the first place.
Sign the contract.
So there you go. Steelers are great on defense. They're good enough on offense. And I see them being a good team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they definitely belong at 4 here. TJ Watt is unbelievable. He might be better than JJ. Like by the time it's all said and done, he might be better
I don't
than
think
JJ.
you're crazy for saying.
Yeah, he might be better than JJ, and JJ was the best. But Cam Hayward's a hell of a player. Their whole defense, like you said, top to bottom, stacked. But if you would have told me before the season that Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith, and Justin Fields would be 3-0, I'd believe you, because they find a way to get it done. Arthur Smith ruined everyone's fantasy team, so people hate him, but the guy's damn good at his job, all right? It needs to be said. Mike Tomlin, damn good at his job. The Steelers are what they are. They're going to win. They might win 10 games and still be the worst team in the playoffs by the time they get there. But
I don't know, man. They're opening that playbook for Fields now.
They opened it last week, and we'll see how it goes going forward. They're going to have an above 500 record, as they always do. And
also weak level of competition so far.
Yeah, they're squeaking on by, man. They're squeaking on by. I'm going to be honest.
I think they haven't scored 40 points total. On this
I haven't.
There.
I've done my Tuesday mornings before the pod where I watch the games back. I haven't watched any Steelers, so I've watched them when they're on red zone scoring touchdowns.
The thing is, every time they're on defense on red zone, I see TJ Watt in the backfield.
It's
insane.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see the other team scoring.
Every single time.
I see TJ Watt hitting
and Chris Boswell nailing a kick.
Yeah, for sure.
But
if you want me to be honest, I'm not really too sure how this offense is operating. I'm pretty sure it hasn't been that great. The defense has been great, but the Steelers are the Steelers. I think 4 is a pretty good spot for them on this list.
Yeah, and then we go to number 3. I want to put them higher, but I'm not going to. It's the team we just talked about. The Minnesota Vikings just had one of the most impressive wins of the entire season, absolutely smacking the Texans around, as we spoke about. Their defense is one of the best in the league as well, but so far to this point in the season, they have an offense to match. They've ran the football incredibly well. They have a great offensive line. They have the best receiver in the NFL, as I said. Sam Darnold's playing lights-out football because Kevin O'Connell is just so goddamn good at his job. They have the best defensive coordinator in the NFL, and they have arguably the best offensive mind in the NFL right now. The Vikings are legit, but the 2 teams above them are, have certain guys.
I mean, we just obviously talked about the Vikings ad nauseum, but I'll just, really quick. I think when, some people might say, well, the Vikings have a bigger hole than, say, the Steelers or the Seahawks. Their hole and flaw is the quarterback position, which is the biggest hole you could have. But right now where we stand, that has been far from a hole. And, when Sam Darnold's performing like that, this team has no flaws. So I think where things stand right now, they're rightfully placed above the Steelers and the Seahawks.
Yeah, it's a fair placement for them. We just spoke in depth about them. They're great. They look great. I think they can keep it up, but they just don't have the rapport the 2 teams ahead of them have.
Oh, this is where it's going to get toxic. At number 2, I have the reigning back-to-back Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. You just spoke about teams squeaking on by, and that is all the Chiefs have done through 3 games. A win is a win, 3 times over, but they have not looked like the best 3-0 team in football. It's just that simple. Mahomes has looked very pedestrian, like an average quarterback in the NFL, making mistakes left and right at the current moment. But it's Mahomes, it's Kelsey. We know those 2 will be great come playoff time. I have no concerns about that. But to this point, they have not been the best 3-0 football team in all football. And their defense is still good. Their offense is going to be fine. Rashee Rice looks like that dude. Pacheco injury is a little concerning, but, you expect to have him back at some point this season. I think they're going to be just fine. They're still obviously a Super Bowl contender. Being the second best 3-0 team is not a slight by any means. I have the Chiefs at number 2.
Yeah, I think the squeaking by point that you made, I think actually does speaks higher to them, speaks to how great they are rather than takes away from it. Because despite looking pedestrian all game, like not even just Patrick Mahomes, like the Chiefs as a whole, they still, when they have to, they turn it up and they go into a different gear and they pull away with the win. I mean,
and the refs turn that shit into a different gear
and I mean,
too,
when
man.
when you have the refs, when you have the refs on your side, you can't lose a game. I mean,
Never.
It's
That's what I'm
literally
saying,
impossible.
man. They have magic on their side, bro. Like, bro, I know, people watching probably want me to come and argue about you having the Bills at 1. Like, I really can't argue, bro. Like,
no, it's
like through 3 games, they've been pretty clearly the best team in football.
Right.
Like, I mean, we just saw what they did last night. I can't get up here and argue and say the Chiefs have looked like a better football team than them. They obviously haven't. Like, they just obviously haven't. I'm not oblivious. But what I will say is, man, there's just something about them Chiefs, bro. Like, shit, you're stupid. Like, like I'm sorry. Like, and I know, like, you could pull up any stat you want. Like, yeah, like you're just like it's number 15. Like when it comes down to it, Tyler Bass will miss a chip shot kick. Like they just have the magic on their side, and they have number 15. Like I am worried, bro. The Chiefs are still the best team in football.
It just like for me, it just is that simple. Like you got 15, Travis Kelce, who does not look like himself. Like he's clearly very much not the player he was. But when they need him most, he's gonna be
They'll
there.
figure it out, bro.
Or some other guy that's sitting on his couch right now is gonna come in and score a
Kareem
touchdown.
Hunt's coming to save the day,
Right.
bro. We ain't worried about
Some
no
other
run game,
guy
bro.
is coming in
Kareem
and
Hunt's
saving the
coming
day
in
for
there,
them.
bro.
Spagnola's gonna draw up a great play and a great blitz, and they're gonna get pressure on a quarterback, and he's gonna throw
Maybe
an interception
they'll
or something.
Maybe they'll PI a little bit. Maybe they won't turn their heads around, but maybe the refs will miss it.
but when
Maybe
they
the
do-
refs will miss
But
it.
when they do, it ain't getting called because it's number
called.
15.
Like-
It's Taylor Swift. We ain't calling that shit.
Like, man, I wish I could analyze it more, but
The
there's
Chiefs
just
is
no
still the
analysis to
It's
be
just
made,
the Chiefs
bro.
being
Like
the Chiefs, man. It really is.
It's just the Chiefs
They
being
play
the
like
Chiefs
shit and they're 3-0.
and the stripes wearing Chiefs jerseys.
Right.
Okay, so obviously, if you couldn't tell, that leaves one team, and that's the Buffalo Bills. I, for one, have long been the biggest, some would say certain words, I would say fan, of Josh Allen.
Dick Rider.
Meat muncher.
For the longest time, I've tried arguing that this man is in the same stratosphere as Patrick Mahomes, and obviously recently I've had to give that one up. It's no doubt about it. Patrick Mahomes has won 3 of them things. There's no argument at this point. But through 3 games, Josh is the clear-cut MVP. The Buffalo Bills have one of the best defenses in the NFL. One of the best pass rushes in the NFL. Von Miller looks young again, which I don't know what voodoo magic
I was
Sean
going to say, talk
McDermott
about
is.
voodoo magic.
I don't know what voodoo magic Sean McDermott is spinning up in Buffalo, but you got a resurrected safety who's catching picks on Monday Night Football. You have Von Miller looking like prime Von Miller once again. You got Josh Allen playing the best goddamn football of his career, not turning the ball over once through 3 games. No Stephon Diggs, but guess what? No problem, because Josh Allen could say, oh, that guy's open on this play, I'm going to throw it to him. He's not open on this play, all right, I'm going to throw it to him. Nobody's open, I'm going to just run the football. And if they so choose to run the football with a running back, they got 3 that have proven to be half decent at the bare minimum, and James Cook looks like an absolute superstar. So, not only that, one of the best offensive lines in football. Tight end Dalton Kincaid is getting going. I mean, look, there's weapons, at least enough weapons to hopefully make the. You may not think so.
You know what you said to me one time when we very first started this podcast? When
Throw it back. Take him
we
back.
did the great. I'm gonna throw that shit back. Yeah.
Throw that shit
We
back.
did the great NBA
that
debate,
coochie
and there was a debate between Matty J and Trunks. It was Rudy Gobert versus Desmond Bane. And Trunks had Desmond Bane.
Gross.
Right. It was ironic that Matty J got Rudy for that one, but
I love, yeah.
for the counter argument,
right,
Matty
okay.
J said, Because Desmond Bain, this was 2 years ago, started out the season on fire.
Like 25 a game,
on
right?
fire.
Yeah. Even better than that.
Matty J said, it's just a hot streak. For every hot streak, there's a cold streak coming. Josh Allen hasn't turned the ball over, hasn't thrown a pick in 7 games. It's cool and all. It's a hot streak. Cold streak's coming, Josh.
Or is it just the offense? Is it just the way the offense dictates
I don't know.
things?
Wise man once told me for every hot streak, a cold streak's coming. So I'll
man
leave it
did
at
say
that.
it.
You
It's
know,
on
it's
camera.
it's
It's
a great
documented.
argument to use what someone that you were arguing against
That's what I'm
said
saying. I mean,
in the past.
Right.
no, but in all seriousness, like that's kind of the only question you could have about this team. Like in all seriousness, I mean, is this just who Josh Allen is now with Joe Brady? Does he just not throw interceptions anymore? Because what did I say? In his past 7 games, he hasn't thrown a
Not one,
pick.
yeah.
So, like, is this who he is now, or is he gonna come back to life a little and still be great Josh Allen, who will probably walk his way to the MVP this year, but turn the ball over a little bit in some crucial moments like we've seen? And also, who would have thought through 3 weeks the Bills' biggest test so far would have been the Cardinals, given their schedule?
Yeah.
I was just
So-
gonna say they get at Baltimore, at Houston, at the Jets.
Yeah.
This is a
They're-
big
they're
run.
next
Yeah,
round.
like I
This is a
don't
big
want
run.
to say like we know like they're a good team and they're as much
Yeah.
of a contender in the AFC as anyone else, not named the Chiefs for sure. But we'll see what they're made of for sure these next couple games.
Happy I didn't give up on them. I really am. A lot.
Good
The
for you,
whole
man.
world was starting to.
All right.
I can't believe their defense
Not
is as
Josh.
good as like for real. Like the offense, like sometimes it's just me trolling because I try to troll against Josh Allen, but the defense, like I didn't think there was a
Unbelievable.
shot
I
they'd
definitely
beat
Matt
them.
did
Milano
not.
goes down. Poyer's gone. Hyde's gone. It's
Not just that, Terrell Bernard then
Yeah.
goes down, your other linebacker. And I mean,
The secondary looks sick, bro.
unbelievable, dude. Benford's a stud. Benford is an absolute stud. And like,
they're
as-
shutting down every
as much
number
as
one
people
receiver they
may
go
want
against.
to like, as much as people may want to meme DeMar Hamlin and just say like
He's
it's
playing good football
he's
right
playing
now.
great football.
He's playing
at the
good
moment.
ball right now.
Like he really is playing good football.
No, their defense is like really, really playing good. Like that's definitely the biggest takeaway from them is the defense has been insane.
Yeah, I
so
believe
far.
historically Joe Brady gets figured out as seasons go on. If I know that's been said about him.
It has.
So curious
but-
to see how. I mean, he's never had Josh Allen, I guess, is what you're about to say. Yeah,
Bingo.
But that's fine. Yeah, that's
Bingo
fine.
was his name.
Bingo was his name. Josho was his name.
He hasn't had this level of talent on the offense. Aside from, I mean, LSU, but that's a completely different story because that's
Different
the greatest
beast, yeah.
college football team of all time. But,
Right, right.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we'll see how the season goes on, but right now,
it's just Josh basically gets the chance now to dictate where the football is going to go, which I think him having complete freedom.
the quarterback usually dictates where the
No,
football goes.
but,
But
no,
I see your
but
point. I see your
it's
point.
it's different because when you have a guy like Diggs, you know how you mentioned before the number 1 wide receivers. Diggs was one of the divas. You needed to make sure that Diggs stayed fed, and that's perfectly fine because he's one of the best was one of the best receivers in the NFL. But you know when you're not quite that guy anymore, and not only that, winning football for the Bills has now turned into let's run the football
Everybody
a bunch,
eats.
let's play great defense, and everybody is going to get the football. Let Josh just pick whatever receiver is going to be open. He's played so much football to this point that it's like he's a vet, and he's a very clear-cut quarterback, and I know decision-making has been his biggest issue forever, but it doesn't seem to be anymore.
It's the Tony Pollard clause. Sometimes guys, when you take a little bit off their plate, they get more efficient at this shit.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes when you give them too much on their plate, they're just objectively just not going to be as efficient because that's just kind of like, you know, math
Yeah.
and numbers. Like
Law of
that's just how it is.
balance,
Yeah. They've obviously done everything they can to, you know, take as much off the plate of Josh Allen as they can, and it's a lot more sporadic when they need him to be Superman, and that's obviously paying dividends for them right now in terms of protecting the football.
They're very well suited to, you know how we talk about the cover 2 and how that's become the meta. The way to get teams out of that is to run the
the
football
ball,
over
yeah.
and over and over.
And to have yak threats.
Yes.
Which they have.
And to throw the ball underneath. And to
one
get
of
rid
the
it.
one of the better ones in the NFL with Khalil Shakir,
He
who's
looks
been
awesome, dude.
who like the stats aren't anything like eye popping, but he's been so important for them
Yes.
so far. And that's you know,
Kincaid at the tight end position.
you know,
Not
if
many
teams are
people
going to
does.
keep coming out in cover 2, you obviously, like, you know, we talked about this last week, and it's obviously a trendy subject, but if teams are going to keep coming out in cover 2, you know, more times than not, you want to keep them honest to the run on. You want to get it to 3rd and short rather than 3rd and long. You know, you don't want them on 3rd down being able to sit back and keep those 2 safeties deep. You want them to have to respect the run at all times on 3rd down. And when you have a guy like Josh Allen, you have this O-line, and you have James Cook, and you're moving the ball like that, you're getting 3rd and manageable more times than not. So
fuck that band cover 2.
It's been
ridiculous. Game's
Mel
too
Kiper's
hard.
the biggest
that
dumbass
was
I've ever heard in my life.
So just get better at the sport, bro.
Yeah,
Simple.
literally.
Just get better at the
Figure it out.
sport.
It's called adjusting.
Figure it out. You'll figure it
Call
out.
adjusting. That's what coaches do.
Yeah, get better.
It'll get figured out.
Wow, what a pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. That was a long pod.
Yeah.
Definitely.
How long was that?
2 hours and 30. No, it was one. We're about to hit 153.
That felt a lot longer than that.
No, that sounds
Felt like
about
it
that
was
sounds about
over
right. But yeah.
2:30 would have been nuts.
Yeah, if you said 2:30, I would be like, all right, guys, we got some work to do.
All right. Well,
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all of our socials. Click the Patreon link in that description. Go subscribe to that. We had good content last week. We are going to have even more good content this week. $2, $4 edition. $2 has fantasy football video. $4 has betting picks. I promise you we're going to get better with that as the season goes on.
are we?
I was gonna say I don't think you can promise shit.
I'm going to promise it. We're going to get better. We're going to get
There we
better,
go.
all right?
It's just football's so fake right now through 3 weeks.
Yeah,
It's
really
hard right now.
That's why I'm
bro.
saying we're going to get better, guys.
Sure,
Come
yeah.
on.
It's so random right
Just like
now,
you
bro.
figure out who's who in football about 4 weeks in.
Who's betting on fucking Juwan Jennings, bro?
I mean, Trevor Lawrence can't get 200 yards in a game. That's why I bet last night. You know what I mean?
Happens to the best of us. Thank you guys for watching. And with that,
Ball game.
ball game.
Ball game. Nice.